P-A-S-C-A-L. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis is ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good afternoon. Good evening and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. What is good? What's popping? What is happening? We got some things we have got to get into. This is absolutely insane. Hopefully you guys are finding this show in great spirits, because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let us not forget that. We have got some things we have got to get into. It is absolutely insane. We got a lot going on. There's a lot of things going on overseas as well. There's a lot of things going on here in the country. It is absolutely crazy. We got some things we got to get into. So we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of different things. Okay? Let's just be real. All right? Very, very interesting stuff going on. Okay? Very, very interesting stuff going on. So please do me a favor before we get into everything, and there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on. We're going to be going through multiple realms. We are back in the Lord of the Rings world again, guys. We are going to be going through all kinds of realms today. Okay, everything from pop culture to true crime to the politics, all the stuff that's going on overseas, and then some, okay? So this is going to be a multi-realmed show, so get ready. Gandalf! So please do me a favor before we get into everything, okay? Do me a solid, okay? Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. In fact, if you're watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all of them. So make sure you hit that follow button over there. Please and thank you. Don't forget to subscribe right here on my YouTube channel. Subscribe. Please and thank you. Subscribe right here. Hit that notification bell. Set it to all. Also go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there as well. Please. That would be amazing. Okay? Please. Yes, I learned how to use multiple portals. Messy, okay? This is just how we do now, okay? We can't just stick to one genre anymore. There's too much going on in the world. So please make sure you're subscribed to both channels, The Pascal Show Clips and The Pascal Show, this main channel right here. Subscribe to both channels. Hit that notification bell on both channels, so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload. Please and thank you. All right? Hit that join button down below, become a member. If you want to support even further, check out my Patreon, which is in the ticker going across the screen down below as we speak. I also have locals. Go check out my locals. That'll be amazing as well. And of course, if you want to support even further and check out some of my dope ass gear, check out pascalmerch.com. Okay? pascalmerch.com. We got a lot of great stuff over there, so go check it out. pascalmerch.com. Okay, guys, we now have got to get into this conversation. There's a lot going on. And first, we got to tap into a little bit of what's going on overseas before we go into the main topic of the day. Don't worry, we're not going to be taking very long to get into the main topic, I promise you. But there's a lot that has happened overnight that I didn't get a chance to really talk to you guys about on a live. Now, I talked about some of these things on I talked about a bunch of these things on my on a short, one of those shorts, one of those TikTok-y reel type of videos. Okay. And again, I'm just going to be real. There is quite a bit of stuff going on. Did Trump Taco Tuesday? Because it kind of sounds like he mother loving did. Now, a lot of people are very upset about this. People are not happy about this, okay? This is what he put up yesterday. Because remember, today is supposed to be the day. Today is supposed to be the cutoff date. It's supposed to be a wrap today. He's supposed to be making a whole civilization go back to the Flintstone era, Barney Rubble. But apparently he decided, nah, we just going to hold off on this ceasefire indefinitely. TBD, to be determined, which is weird, which is obviously making a lot of people feel some type of way about it. And I gotta be honest, I'm kind of surprised, but also thankful about this situation. Now, I know some of y'all be like, nah, this ain't cool. I ain't rocking with this. How dare he? Blah, 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 blah. And I get it. You know, some of y'all wanted to see carnage. Some of y'all are just war, horny freakazoids. Yes, I said it, and I don't care. Some of y'all are just war, horny freakazoids. And yes, keys only. Yeah, this does make us look kind of weak. But at the same time, though, I don't want to see us go down the route of World War III. WW Trace. Now, I know some of us are cool with it. Some of us just want to see us, you know, flex our muscle and show that we are just savages in general and that we are not to be messed with, right? But there's another part of me that's like, yo, still no matter what, if we were to do this, we would be waltzing into very quickly, maybe quicker if we did it than what we're doing. Because right now it's a slow crawl that we're doing a very slow crawl towards WW Trace right now. All right. But at the same time, we don't need to be quickly going into WW Trace. Now, does this change how the world market is? And does this change the oil prices of oil and gas and ways of living and all that? Not really. We are still in a situation. We're still dealing with this crap. Okay, we're still dealing with the roller coaster ride, which is the market, which is this, you know, the world market, and of course, oil prices and gas prices, right? But nonetheless, Trump decided to just back off instead of saying everything that you know and that you love, Iranian people, is about to go belly up. He decided, nope, not going to do that anymore. And so let me just show you. He said, and this is what's interesting, because he said this was asked, okay, upon request of Pakistan. The people of Pakistan basically said, please do not do what you say you're going to do Wednesday night. So he said, okay, you know, since they asked me to do that, I'm just going to be nice. And I'm not going to do that. I'm just not going to do that. And he says, I have therefore directed our military to continue the blockade and in other respects remain ready and able, and will therefore extend the ceasefire until such time as their proposal is submitted and discussions are concluded one way or the other. So he basically said this ceasefire is now on indefinitely, and that he's not ever going to drop bombs on the civilization of Iran unless something really bad happens. And a few things did happen. Some bad things did happen. Okay? Bad things did happen. Like I said, we're kind of gonna do a full circle thing. We're gonna start with this, and then we're gonna get into the main topic. And then we may go back if we have some more time near the end of the show to talk about some other things that are going on in the world, in the realm of this war. Okay. But one thing is for sure, as much as we sit here and go, oh, thank God, you know, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right. We're, you know, a civilization. We're not going to watch Trump actually commit a war crime in real time. Still some ish went down. Still some things happened. We woke up this morning to find out the Iranians seized. At first they said 3 ships. Now we're hearing 2 of them. So let's take a listen to what CNN has to say about this.
Elation in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's Revolutionary Guard says it has seized 2 ships in that critical oil shipping route. And Iran state media saying A third vessel is now, quote, disabled off the country's coast. All of this just hours after President Trump extended the ceasefire with Iran indefinitely. Let's go to CNN's Nick Robertson, who is in Islamabad, Pakistan, where those possible new talks between the U.S. and Iran are on hold. What do you know about these ships in Iran, that the one in particular that was seized in the Strait of Hormuz?
Yeah, I think there are several things happening here, all at the same time. The president said there's divisions within inside the Iranian leadership. We are absolutely seeing that play out in real time.
Okay, CNN is also saying this, by the way. So instead of them sitting there going, well, we don't know if Trump's really telling us the truth or not about these two different entities, two different leaderships running Iran, no, CNN now is not doing the pushback. They're saying, indeed, it looks like it's real, that there are two entities. There are two leaderships going on in Iran. So how do we know if Trump is really talking to the right people? Do you realize the problem that we're having right now? Come on, guys. Do we realize the problem that we're having? Are we seeing that yet? My beautiful, beautiful babies. Okay. Are we actually finally seeing the issue here? Because remember, Trump said something about 20 boats of oil, right? They're going to give me 20 boats of oil, right? Remember all that? 20 boats of beautiful, beautiful liquid gold. Beautiful, beautiful liquid gold. Remember all that crap? We didn't see any of that. Was he talking to the wrong team? I'm just asking for a friend. Real talk. Was he talking to the wrong friend? Yeah, beautiful Armada. 10 boats for me, 10 boats for beautiful Melania. Remember all that? Remember all that crap? So who are he talking to? What friend is he talking to? What side of Iran is he actually talking to? That's what I'd like to know. What side of Iran is he talking to, baby? What side of Iran is he talking to? Because I'm confused. Remember what happened? See what had happened was they went and they dropped bombs on it, right? On Ayatollah Senior. And then Ayatollah Junior, I think he's still be in a coma. Sans leg, right? He's without leg. Leg got blown off, allegedly, right? He is somewhere, allegedly hiding out or still in a coma. So we have no head of the snake, as if you will, to this terroristic regime. So who are we talking to? Legolas or Legolas? I'm done. But think about that. What's going on? Yeah, I heard about the boom boom threat at the Bass Pro Shops. I was trying to find a live feed about it. That's why it took me a minute to get started, because I was trying to find a live feed and I could not find it. So if anybody knows where I can find it, let me know. Okay? But there's apparently a boom boom threat and somebody brandishing a rifle allegedly around the Memphis Bass Pro Shop. Yeah. Kind of wild, right? That it would be at a place like a Bass Pro Shop. Moving on. It's like, you go to a gun show and then there's a mass tragedy at a gun show. You see what I'm saying? It's just random, okay? But I am looking for it. I haven't found it yet, okay? So I am going to look for it when I get a second here. First and foremost, the seizing of these ships by Iran. Trump is basically now you're hearing it from CNN as well, saying that there are two entities that the White House is having conversations with. They don't know, like it seems like these two parties are not communicating with each other. Hence the issue, hence the problem. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of miscommunication going on here, and nobody really knows what's really going on. And that is a huge problem. Like I said, remember when they dropped bombs on it? They dropped bombs on the Ayatollah Senior. And they destroyed and took the lives of 40 other officials as well. Okay, all of them. All of them gone. Now, they cut off the head of that regime. That regime now has split up. So one side is saying one thing and the other side is saying something completely different. So now there's confusion on what really is going on. If there's really peace talks going on, are we sure that one side is even aware what the other one is doing? It seems like one hand does not know what the other hand is doing. And that is a major, major problem in this situation, which could cause more drama and more of a potential forever war going on. Just saying that out loud. You know, he said there's a regime change. Oh, for damn show, there's a regime change. But let's be real, that regime change, yeah, now you split it up in two different things. Now you got blood versus Crips. You see what I'm saying? The old guard with the new guard. You see what I'm saying? So this is not good. At the end of the day, this is not good.
On the one hand, you have ongoing diplomacy here in Islamabad, the Iranian ambassador going in to meet the prime minister. And on the other hand, you have the IRGC claiming that it has taken control of a number of ships in the Strait of Hormuz. At least one ship reporting an IRGC vessel coming up, an IRGC gunboat coming alongside of it. No radio communications. The gunboat starts shooting up that container ship. It's severe damage to the bridge. We understand no one injured there. And another ship in the same sort of area in the Strait of Hormuz, not far from the Iranian coastline, also shot up. Again, that ship, the crew, not damaged. But the IRGC here, the military, if you will, the hardliners in Iran, are signaling what we're hearing from the politicians. And the politicians are saying in Iran that the US blockade on the Strait of Hormuz must be lifted. And President Trump was very clear last night when he, in his Truth Social post, extended the ceasefire. He also said, I'm not lifting the blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. Now, how does that play into what's happening in Iran with those leaders there who, the more moderates we might call them, who want to get into the talks? Well, we heard from the foreign minister there, who was the number 2 at the talks last week, saying that absolutely the United States needs to lift the blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. It's clear. President Trump's made that clear. That's not going to happen. We had the leader of those negotiations saying that, from the Iranian side, saying that they weren't going to come into the talks under the shadow of threats. Now, the perception here in the region was clear that President Trump wanted to use the end of the ceasefire as a lever in the talks, as pressure on the Iranians. So it does appear, by extending the ceasefire, the president's taken off that pressure point. However, the Iranians have come out and said, we didn't ask for that ceasefire to be removed. The diplomatic maneuvers here that we see in this city would indicate there's circumstantial evidence to suggest that the Iranians may well have asked for that ceasefire that was put forward by the Prime Minister, that the Foreign Minister here yesterday, that the Field Marshal here contacted President Trump about and he acted upon. But the diplomacy on the ground is playing out here. And the hope here is, contacts I talked to, that the talks can still happen. That optimism is still here.
That's absolutely crazy, guys. Let me just say this. The fact that they're saying, we don't care if you're extending the ceasefire. We don't give a flying F if you're going to be nice enough to extend this ceasefire. Again, you got some parties in the Iranian regime that are trying to make this peace talk happen, allegedly. And then you got this other side of Iran that are basically saying, we don't care. We laugh in the face of you sitting there trying to be, oh, so kind to us by extending this ceasefire. We don't care. Come give us, hit me with your best shot. Go ahead. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you truly got. Quit with this nonsense. Quit lying to us. We don't care. You know what I mean? Like they're like, everything's going to be continuing exactly how it is. And then they also say, hey, we are only going to be able to sit down and talk to you about having peace talks if you get rid of this blockade, because you're messing with our money. $500 million a day or something crazy like that. You are jacking up our money, and that is a huge freaking problem. So don't even try. Don't even waste your time trying to make it seem like you're doing us a service. Forget you. You know what I'm saying? So again, they're seizing vessels, and they're doing all of this crazy stuff. But at the same time, people are not. I mean, the Iranian people are not happy with this. Again, they're seizing other vessels. They're firing upon other vessels. They don't care. So clearly, nothing's changing. Nothing's changing. We're just seeing the same old crap. It's every day. You see what I'm saying? It's every day. It's just like breathing now. You know, same old ish, different toilet. So I don't know. You know, this is like, I guess the question I have too is like, is the choice of actually going and saying like, go ahead and pull the trigger, Trump, is that the best option? Because in my personal opinion, I think it's the worst option you can think of. True, it makes it look like Trump can't make up his mind. True, it looks like he's just all talk. It makes Trump look weak and all that. But at the same time, there's another part of me that's like, you know, there's something about this that just seems, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just, yeah, superfluous. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? But what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Because I got a lot of questions about this as well. I got a lot. And something about this just seems a little bit strange. But we got to move on to the next thing. We got to move on to the main topic. I know a lot of you guys are in here for this topic as well. Like I said, we're going to be weaving in and out of many, many realms today. And one of them is something that I retweeted. Shout out to Lauren Conlon, because she posted this, and I think this is interesting. So I thought the preliminary hearing was going to be like several days from now. No, they're having a preliminary hearing tomorrow. No kidding. Preliminary hearing is happening tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time before Judge Olmedo. Okay, no cameras. So everything's going down tomorrow. This is happening very, very fast because they said we're going into the D4vd. Okay, we're going into the D4vd Celeste conversation. Okay, yeah, might as well set your alarms, y'all, and all that, because tomorrow is going to be an epic day of coverage revolving around this as well. Now, there won't be any cameras in the courtroom tomorrow, but diggity damn, it's pretty insane that this is all going down as quickly as tomorrow. Didn't we just talk about him being arrested and then him going into his first court appearance just 2 days ago? Was it not just 2 days ago? And now we're looking at this, which is insane, shocking, and insane. Okay? So preliminary hearing is happening tomorrow for David. And that's a very, very big deal. Now, here's something that's very interesting. We're going to be diving into some David stuff here. You have been forewarned, okay? Tomorrow, preliminary hearing is going to be happening very, very quickly. So that means prosecution really needs to get their ish together. They need to stitch everything up and present a very strong case. We'll see how that all goes down. They may fall straight on their face. You never know. But one thing is for sure, this is some very strange stuff. A lot of things that's going on a lot of very strange things are going on right now. But first, we got to go over to Lauren Conlon. Real quick, she's giving us some updates about this preliminary hearing and more. So let's take a look at this.
David Anthony Burke, aka Singer David, is due back in court tomorrow, April 23rd. And if you've been watching and following along with this heartbreaking and very, very disturbing case on Los Angeles Magazine, you will know that he was formally charged by the DA's office on Monday. And it's not just murder, but I'm going to get into the criminal complaint in a minute because I haven't actually done that yet. But I want to go over David's arraignment and the fact that his attorney, Blair Burke, is literally fighting like hell for him. And look, that is, of course, the job of any defense attorney. But I was like, wow. I'll play the clip for you right now from yesterday, and then I'll explain what happens next and what this all means, because his attorney, Blair Burke, is asking for a preliminary hearing. And what a preliminary hearing does, and it's not, it doesn't necessarily happen in all states, but a prelim hearing allows the judge to see all of the evidence to determine whether or not there is enough evidence for the case to move forward to trial. So Blair Burke, during the arraignment, she's like, oh no, I want to see grand jury transcripts. I want to see the medical examiner report. And she said, I want that unsealed. And by the way, it should be unsealed any minute now. But
now here's the thing. That means when those things get unsealed, the public gets to see those things too, just so you know. And here's the other thing too. Yeah. His lawyers have every right to demand those things. They have every right to demand those things. They have every right to have this preliminary hearing to say, hey, do you have enough to really press charges on my man D4vd? If you don't have anything to put on David, then what are these charges? This is BS. It's a waste of time, Your Honor. He shouldn't even be looked at right now. He shouldn't even be detained or even arrested right now, right? Now, again, we're waiting. We're waiting to see what's up. But tomorrow, if prosecution cannot present a solid case with all the things that they're requesting, testimonies and then some, I mean, it's going to be a floppy case, and it'll make prosecution look like a fool. And I don't think they want that to happen. Just so you know.
Let's get into it. I'll play this for you. It's very short, this clip. David, and look, I heard this outside the courthouse. A man, I don't know if you guys heard this, but a man came to the podium right after the arraignment, and he said David looked really nervous. His eyes were darting all around. I didn't really see that from him in this clip. You guys can judge for yourself, but he didn't seem to look nervous at all. He really had no expression, but let's just play it. Let's play it, and then we can decide.
We believe the actual evidence will show David Burke did not murder Celeste Rivas Hernandez, nor was he the cause of her death. And we would like to be able to have the evidence come into the light of day at the earliest opportunity in order to establish that. We're asking for April 23rd as a 3 of 10, Your Honor, as did the robbery homicide unit to the press. So we would again reiterate, we believe that Mr. Burke is entitled to discovery. We have served the people with notice. They have 15 days to produce discovery in this case. We would ask that they do that in conscientious earnestness and as quickly as possible.
Okay.
We believe.
So you saw his face. I mean, he seemed pretty calm to me. He wasn't really making any sort of expression, but obviously I wasn't there. And maybe when he walked into the courtroom, he was looking around. I hate not being there. I love more than anything being inside the courtroom and being able to see every single thing that goes on, because even the littlest movements could mean something. And I feel like just not being there is driving me crazy.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot, right? That's obviously I'm even, wishing I lived out there in LA to be able to cover and be there, during this whole thing, because this is such This is going to be a big case. When it gets fully moving and everything starts popping off, it's going to be a very big case, because I really think that prosecution has enough to really, get this bad boy rolling, in my personal opinion. But we'll see. Okay, I knew my name. Angel Disguise, thank you so much. I knew my name was on the screen. I put a shirt and tie on. I'm confused, but thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the super chat. I don't understand what that means. I'm a little confused there, but we're going to continue though. Somebody said something about the 40 terabytes. 40 terabytes of evidence, video, God knows what else kind of terabytes they have. Okay, there's a lot. Okay, yeah, this is what it is. Christy, thank you so much. Said they got 40 terabytes of evidence. I think David is just that cocky and delulu. Seriously, I think so too. Listen to what the other side says here. LOL, they bit back. Yeah, I mean, I feel have enough. But the only thing I think a lot of people are going to say, the only pushback they're going to say right now is that they're all going to wonder, why didn't they press charges earlier? Why did LAPD have to force their hand to put charges on David? Think about that for a second. If they really had charges and they had enough on him, they should have already arrested him. They already should have asked and demanded and put in the request to get him arrested. But that didn't happen, did it? And that seems a little bit weird, don't you think? That's a little bit odd. And then all of a sudden, the LAPD goes, you know what? We gonna do it because y'all taking too much time. So they do it. So like I said, it just doesn't make sense that kind of thing would happen, right? So let me continue. Let me play a little bit more of what Lauren is saying in here right quick. Let's get over here a little bit. Bang.
The DA's office. And this was their press release where I was just shocked because this is so rare. Scroll down, look at that. We have a mugshot. I mean, if you guys only knew the lengths that I go through to request a mugshot when a celebrity in Los Angeles is arrested, you would be like, wow, that's insane. As well as a criminal complaint or an indictment or any type of court doc. Los Angeles, I have to show you guys this while I'm doing this video. I mean, normally, if you are out of state and you can't pick up a document, you have to write a letter requesting it. And I just got something returned to me the other day because I didn't put enough money in it to get a document. It's a pain. However, for this case, not only have they given us a mugshot, but they have actually linked out to the complaint, which again, that shocks me. I mean,
it is interesting. It is interesting, but it could also be them trying to do their best to just kind of cover their own ass. You know what I'm saying? This could be their way of just trying to cover their own butt because things have been, taking a minute. You got LAPD forcing their hand in pressing charges on this guy. You see what I'm saying? So they may be trying to put in all the work as best as they can just to try to, cover, to save face and cover their own ass. One thing we didn't get a chance to look at before we continue on, okay, that we haven't looked at yet. And, we got to talk about this wild revelation that is now starting to come out and all that. But we do need to take a look at, what the LA County, the DA's office has put out. Okay. So let's take a look at this because I think this is pretty insane. All right. Now we heard the press conference, which was obviously very, very shocking. Okay. To say the least. Okay. But one thing is for sure. It's interesting when you get it in writing. So Los Angeles County District Attorney Hochman, Nathan Hochman, announced that musician David Burke known as D4vd, David, okay, with a 4 in it, all right, was charged today with unaliving 14-year-old Celeste Rivas, whose body was found decomposed and dismembered in his car that had been impounded in September 2025. So this is what they're saying here, okay? Celeste was just a child, under 14 years old, when David Burke allegedly engaged in repeated lewd and lascivious sexual relations with her. This is what the DA Hochman said. But Burke's actions did not allegedly stop there. When she threatened to expose his criminal conduct and devastate his musical career, Burke allegedly took her life, cut up her body, and stuffed her in 2 body bags that were placed in the front trunk of his car. There, the dismembered body sat for over 4 months decomposing until it was found at a tow yard on September 8th, 2025. Now, I just want to point this out really quick. I do not agree with this piece of information. I think this piece is wrong. I could be wrong. And whatever information that they've, able to surmise and come up with and put together may be telling exactly that. But I just don't see how he could keep a body in 2 body bags in the front trunk of his car for 4 whole months. I just find it a little, I find that a little bit of a stretch. I'm just going to say that really quick. I see that as a little bit of a stretch. Okay? Tiny bit, wee little bit. 4 months in his car decomposing. And you don't think that smell would have been going throughout that car? You don't think people would be like, bro, do you have like some White Castle in here or something? You got some In-N-Out burgers that are just rotting in this car? Dear God, it smells like ass in this car. It's disgusting. You know what I mean? But he didn't. Here's the thing. Yes, he did leave the car on the street and left, but he didn't leave the car on the street and left for 4 months. You see what I'm saying? He drove that car a couple times. He drove that car at some point. So again, within the 4 months of her body being inside of that car. So I just say that's a little bit of a stretch, just in my personal opinion. But moving on. And I think her body was moved around. I don't think that he just chopped her up, put her in the car in 2 body bags and just let it be what it is. I think he literally moved her around, in my personal opinion. Happy days. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Law enforcement sources previously confirmed to TMZ that she also had multiple fake IDs. Celeste had multiple fake IDs. That's interesting information. Okay. That's very interesting. Okay. But let's move on. Okay. Okay. So this horrific and gruesome murder committed by the charged sexual predator is shocking and appalling. To Celeste's loved ones, we will get the justice you seek and deserve. So Burke, born 3/28/05, March 28th, 05, was charged in the case, with one count each of murder, continuous SA of a child under the age of 14, and unlawful mutilation of human remains. So the criminal complaint also includes special circumstances alleging or allegations of murder of a witness, murder for financial gain, and lying in wait, as well as special allegation that D4vd personally used a deadly and dangerous weapon, a sharp instrument, to commit the actual crime. So he obviously or must have used some sort of knife or something of that sort to attack her. Arraignment is scheduled for today, which we already saw, Department 30 of the Fulton Criminal Justice Center. On April 23rd, Burke invited the victim to his home in the Hollywood Hills. Celeste Rivas arrived at the defendant's home and was never seen or heard from ever again. On September 8th, 2025, the victim's decomposed and dismembered remains were found in the front trunk of his car, that had been impounded after the vehicle had been reported abandoned. If convicted as charged, Burke, D4vd, faces death or life in state prison without the possibility of parole. A decision on whether to seek the full-on DP will be made at a later date. I think if everything goes according to plan tomorrow, in the way of it looks like it's going to be bad for him, okay? Yeah, I think they're going to be going for the DP. This is a pretty nasty thing that he did. This is disgusting. And you also got to remember, he also wrote music. He also made, let's just use in loose quotations, he also made art over this ish. I want to make that abundantly clear. He made money off of this act that he's alleged of doing. And he had an obsession with her. And there's content out there, if you just go check it out, of anime, cartoons, whatever you want to call them, of him making, she was like the subject to a lot of his stuff. It's very, very disturbing. Okay? Very, very disturbing. But moving on. The case is prosecuted by Deputy District Attorney Silverman of the Major Crimes Division and remains under investigation by the LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division. And there is his mugshot looking all sweaty. Okay? Looking all moist. Okay? Yeah. So again, guys, this is not looking any good for the likes of D4vd. Nothing in this case is looking at this. There's no angle in this case that's making it seem like, well, maybe he didn't do it. No. There's too much going against him right now. Nothing is in his favor. Sure, the defense has, well, one thing is for sure. The defense is going to have a very, very hard time trying to prove, or at least insert reasonable doubt. That's the problem. That's the problem. His team is going to have, let me put up his mugshot right there. Okay. Looking like he just pooped his pants, but here it is. His team is going to have quite a struggle trying to prove or insert reasonable doubt into the jury. This was somebody he was having a relationship with, an actual relationship with. She was not of age, so he's already committing crimes right off the bat off of that. Okay? Then on top of it, her body was found inside of his car that he abandoned and let sit out there on the side of the road as he went on tour. His team, I repeat, his defense team is going to have a very, very difficult uphill climb to try to prove that, A, he didn't do this. There's no way. There has to be some sort of smoking gun that exonerates him in some sort of way. But here's the thing. How would he not know that she was in the trunk of his car, in the front trunk of his car? How would he not know? How would he not know? How would he not know the person that he was having relations with was missing when apparently they were attached at the hip? And they were talking to each other for a long time, which we are going to talk about here in a second. So again, like I said, there are certain things that just don't make, that are just so revealing, that to me show that he is going to be in some serious, serious trouble, and shows to me that this dude did this, period. Sorry. For those naysayers that are out there that are thinking that he didn't do anything wrong and he's just being framed in some sort of way, How would he not know that the girl that he was obsessed with, the girl that he was having a very close relationship with, he was having relations with, how would he not know that she's missing? How would he not know where she was? How would he not know that there's something odd and smelly and weird going on with his car? He doesn't open the trunk of his car ever? The trunk or the front trunk of his car? That just seems a little bit strange, don't you think? And now things are even getting worse for him. Things are going not so great for him. Things are not coming up roses for him right now. Because now we got new information that's saying that he was in conversations with her as far back as when she was 12 years old. 12, and we ain't talking about cops. Okay? We talking about her age. 1, 2. 1, 2. She wasn't even a teenager yet. So now you got alleged messages, photos suggesting that they met as early as 2022 when she was just a preteen. A pre-freaking teen, guys. Let that sink in. And you tell me he's innocent. He innocent. Stop. He innocent. Stop it. Stop it. This is a disturbed individual, in my personal opinion. Okay? This is disturbing. Yes, JP. Okay? Yes. He also did music videos. He did do art imitating life. Absolutely. He wrote songs about it. He did all kinds of different things. He made certain things look like he did promos that looked like murder scenes and all that stuff. He just went into a very dark and messed up and cryptic angle. Yeah, very demonic even. Let's be real. That's absolutely insane, guys. So Celeste Rivas could have been as young as 11 years old. Okay? 12 years old. As young as 12, guys. When she allegedly began communicating with David, the 21-year-old pop star charged for her unaliving, prosecutors claimed Monday. Internet sleuths and former fans took a deep dive into possible online interactions between the two, with the first alleged clue surfacing in 2022. Now, here's the thing. Let me just make this abundantly clear. People have been talking about this for a minute. This is kind of old news. But now they're saying there's more information that has come out, showing that indeed they were talking for a minute. The two of them were at least corresponding online when she didn't even hit her teens yet. And like I said, there's conversations about this. And yeah, internet sleuths were going crazy over this in the very beginning. But now they're saying there's more information confirming that. And that is insane. Okay? That is insane. So again, this whole thing is now resurfacing. And this was some stuff that was happening in 2022 around the time that she wasn't even 13 years old yet. Celeste in here, David allegedly wrote in the fan chat room, according to an alleged screenshot of the exchange. It says, "Hi, David Bark." A user claiming to be Celeste replied. It may be the first hint of alleged high-flying clandestine romance that ended with the 14-year-old being found dismembered in the front trunk of his car last September. Here it is. He has a GF. Pretty sure he's dating right now. What? Yeah, her name is Celeste. The following year, D4vd reportedly created a song that leaked in which he croons about a girl named Celeste. So again, I forgot about that. I totally forgot about that part. Remember that part? He wrote a song and her name was in the song. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of Celestes in the world, but let's be real. Really? Come on, y'all. What are the chances? Like, it'd be different if her name was Jenny or Jessica or Suzanne or you know what I mean? That would make absolute sense. That the possibility of him singing about any old person, you know? But you're telling me he was singing a song about a girl named Celeste. Rumors began to swirl among fans that D4vd was dating 13-year-old Celeste, according to screenshots of messages posted on fan chat rooms in 2024. The same year, fans on Discord discussed rumors that he was indeed dating a girl with that actual name. At home, Celeste, who lived in Lake Elsinore, 2 hours from LA, began talking about a new boyfriend named David and came home with a tattoo matching the singer's. Her mom told this to TMZ last September. And I'm telling you right now, she was 13 at the time. Why does she even have a tattoo to begin with? And now, again, it may be because she had really good fake IDs, right? Maybe she had really, really good fake IDs. But at the same time, don't you find that a little bit weird? Okay? You got a 13-year-old girl getting a tattoo on her right finger saying shh on her finger, which is absolutely insane if you really think about it, because she's not of age. They're having this relationship that they shouldn't be having, right? And they're both having that tattoo, which is illegally put on her body, by the way, saying shh. Does that make sense? Don't you find that a little creepy? Because their relationship is not supposed to happen? Okay? Their relationship is not even supposed to be real. Their relationship is illegal. It's not allowed. Okay? You see what I'm saying? And it's a shh, like this is our little secret type thing. That's disturbing, y'all. Okay? And here's the other thing too. That is true. I'm reading the comments. I can see it. True. Anybody can, there's plenty of people that have their own like tattooing rigs where you can just do it at home. You can do a tattoo at home real quick. You know what I mean? You got a friend who's really good at drawing and knows how to tattoo. It takes 2 seconds to draw shh on your tattoo shh on your finger. If you got a friend of yours that knows how to do it, you don't even need an ID to tattoo a 13-year-old if you're doing it in the privacy of your own home. But at the same time, that's crazy. And that's disgusting. Because I see it deeper than just them getting a matching tattoo saying shh. It sounds like shh, don't let. This is our secret. Because we know our love is forbidden. You see what I'm saying? That's disturbing, y'all, in my opinion. But let's continue on. So that's what the mom said. Okay? The tattoo, she was dating a dude named David, same tattoo, matching tattoos. Her finger, his finger, shh. Mama even said this too. Around the same time, Celeste started running away. She started running away. Why was she running away? Because she found her love. She found her forever person. He really had a hold on her. To the point where she said, I'm out of here. And maybe the family knew that she was dating somebody or falling in love with somebody that was not her age. But he probably is saying all kinds of things in her head, and she's thinking that she's grown, even though she's only 13 years old at that time. And she's like, you can't tell me what to do, mom and dad. I'm grown. So she kept running away. This is when she started becoming a habitual runaway. Family reported her missing 3 times in 2024. The Riverside County Sheriff's Office told the LA Times. These two. So she's thinking because she's clearly having relations with him. She's thinking that she's a grown-ass woman, which she clearly is not. She's only 13. She's running away at 13, y'all. And then she continued to do so. And then at some point, it seems as if mom and dad just kind of threw in the towel because they knew exactly where she was. Let me just say this. Every time she ran away, she kept on getting found in the Hollywood Hills. Every time she ran away from the time that she was 13 on to 14, every time she ran away, private investigators, etc., that were trying to find her always found her in the Hollywood Hills with a guy named David. And where does this D4vd live? Oh, yeah, he lives in the Hollywood Hills. In fact, he loves the Hollywood Hills so much that he was arrested in the Hollywood Hills just a few days ago. Just last week. Think about that for a second. She keeps running away. Every time she runs away, she is found in the Hollywood Hills, at his crib or just in the Hollywood Hills. Do the math. Doesn't take much. He's singing songs about Celeste. You know what I mean? There are girls that are depicted in his music videos that look a lot like Celeste. Y'all remember the story about the other Celeste that looked a lot like her? And there was an ongoing theory about maybe she was like a stand-in for Celeste so that people wouldn't start asking about where the real Celeste was. Remember that stuff that was going on? Remember that ish? See, now I got questions about that still. And I'm hoping prosecution is able to present that and show us a little bit about that, whether or not that's real. Because I could see him doing something like that. I really do. I could see him doing that big time. Because if he is doing that, if he is trying to he finds a girl named Celeste, her actual name is Celeste, and she kind of looks a lot like Celeste Rivas. You know, if you like if you like squint with one eye, you know what I mean, in a shadowy hallway, you might be like, whoa, yeah, that does look a lot like Celeste Rivas, but that's another Celeste, right? If they're able to present that and actually prove that as if this other Celeste was a Celeste stand-in during the time that Celeste was missing because she was murdered and chopped up and put in the front trunk of his car, he's screwed. If they're able to connect those dots, if they even waltzed down that conspiracy and they're able to connect it and show proof positive that it's real, oh my dear God, D4vd is cooked. But let's continue on. Of course, that's a photo of them together. So she existed. It's not like she just suddenly disappeared anywhere, like out of nowhere. Okay, but take a look at this over off to the side. Look at the mouse. Okay, so October 23rd, 2022. It says here, Celeste in here, and it says, hi, this is Celeste, apparently. Hi, David Bark. Right? It's supposed to be Burke, but it's Bark. Right? What does this say? This guy's a weirdo, a close friend's little sister from the IE, ran away last year. And this is who she was with. We think her sister was pimping her out. She was in 7th grade at the time. LAPD swept his house in the hills. I'm terrified that's who's in the car. Nobody has heard from her in months. I won't release names as she's still a minor, but she was from Lake Elsinore. And then somebody else said, whoa, I hope that's not the case. I strongly doubt this is true. He has a very public social media presence, and there's no one underage in his road crew. Well, I have only heard good things about D4vd from tour and venue staff. Don't post stuff like this with all this speculation going around. I'm going to feed, you're going to feed witch hunts like that. Well, isn't that funny that we just now find out that that's actually could be actually true now? Okay. And they said, apparently the same dude, American Strawberry, just said it isn't speculation. It literally happened. Hold on, let me see if I can pull this up. Yep. It isn't speculation. It literally happened. I don't really care if you've heard nice things about him. That has no impact on my personal negative experience. Yeah. I mean, this is crazy. All of this is absolutely crazy. David has a lot of explaining to do. A whole lot of explaining to do. Even before cops had ID'd Celeste's body, 2 different Reddit users came forward with accounts of D4vd dating a girl in their local middle school. Wild. The Redditors supplied no further evidence, but one user identified the victim as C. What's the first letter of her name, guys? My sister, who's now, I just read this, but who is now in 9th grade, told me that D4vd was dating an 8th grader. Let's call her C, and she would go on trips with him to LA, wrote the user, who did not provide his name to the post, but claimed to hail from Lake Elsinore. An undated photo circulated online showed the artist standing in a parking lot less than a mile from Celeste's house. That isn't convenient. That isn't a coincidence. Okay. Officials have identified none of the above, nor any other specific evidence other than that her body was found in D4vd's car in the Hollywood tow yard. But the mounting body of evidence, alleged evidence from fans and internet sleuths, have yet to contradict the DA's narrative. D4vd drew a young girl into a sordid romance and then unalived her before she could talk. More photos and screenshots seem to depict their whirlwind tryst. So he is seen with the girl resembling Celeste on live stream at a video arcade, backstage at a concert, and a swanky party. A missing persons poster describes Celeste as wearing Hello Kitty sandals. A photo allegedly posted to D4vd on social media shows his feet next to another set of feet in Hello Kitty patterned Crocs. The photo also shows a woman's hand holding a Hello Kitty doll clipped to D4vd's belt. Later, David posted a photo with the same doll captioned, "When your card declines at therapy and they bring in that Hello Kitty girl you met in 2021. In 2021, Celeste would have been 11 or 12 years old at most." So, big deals. Big deals. And you keep going back because it's a rabbit hole, deep rabbit hole like a mother lover. It is deep, deep ass rabbit hole. And he's screwed. I'm just going to say it. Mother lover screwed. Okay? Dude is absolutely cooked. Now, there is some other stuff. And the thing is I still am wondering. Well, we may get to that a little bit. We got to go to Nancy Grace. We haven't heard anything from Nancy Grace in a while. Okay? We haven't heard much from Nancy Grace in a minute. Clearly she's been now talking about this too. Obviously this is a very big deal. Obviously there's a lot going on. Okay? Now, one thing is for sure. Her family was supposed to make a public statement after his first court appearance. And then they decided not to do it. Okay. And they said it was just like they were just too hurt, right? Too deeply moved by being in that room, hearing what he's alleged of doing to their daughter and all that. And I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to be in that, I don't know if I'd want to talk to the public after. I mean, in fact, I think I would. I'm just that kind of guy. I'll be like, nah, he gonna burn in hell. Like, that's just me. If that, you know what I mean? It's like, you did that to my, you know what I mean? It's like, you did that to Celeste. Man, I'm getting on that mic. I'd be like, give me that mic. Lawyer, sit over there. I got this. I don't need to write this. I'm just gonna say it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna just be there every day. And I'm gonna be staring at his ass and watching him get found guilty is gonna be the highlight of my life. In fact, give him that DP. I'm just saying it. I'm just saying it. But I understand not everybody's me and not everybody's you, right? We're all gonna react to this situation differently, right? But again, shoot, I would make sure he knew how I felt. You know what I'm saying? Happy days. Thank you so much for the love. Her birthday is in September. Romantic Homicide was released in September. Her body was discovered in December. Yes. Actually, I thought Romantic Homicide came out in April, if I'm correct. It was a Romantic Homicide, or Withered. I'm sorry. Withered came out. The album came out in April. So maybe it was the music video from Romantic Homicide came out in September. Maybe that's what it is. But he had a album come out 2 days after he allegedly murked her. Just so you know. It was planned for April 25th, 2025. She went missing. He invited her over around April 23rd, 2025, and then she went missing around that time too. So Withered, the album that he had coming out, was supposed to drop, or did drop, on April 25th. So 2 days after she went missing, his album dropped. Interesting, right? So again, his album was supposed to drop on April 25th. She must have said something days before April 23rd, basically saying, I'm about to make your life a living hell. I'm about to expose your whole ass now. Right? You are nasty. You're a PDF file, and everybody and their mama go about to know about you. Right around the same time. Right around the same time that his album's about to drop. So he's like, nah, we can't do that. We can't have that happen. We put too much time and money into this album. I'll lose everything. And so he says, hey, Celeste, come on. Can you just come over? Can we talk? Can we just rap? Can we talk about all this stuff? 2 days before the album's supposed to drop. You never know. Maybe she extorted him. Maybe there was extortion going on. Maybe she was like, you know what? I want all the money you're going to make off of this album. Or I talk. And he's like, what? No. You see what I'm saying? It could have been that too. Maybe she threatened to expose him, and then she said, in fact, I want that money. I want that money off that album. And he's like, I can't. That means I'm going to be paying for her for the rest of my life. And so he starts freaking out because his whole career would be over off of these allegations. And so he calls her 2 days before this album, Withered, is supposed to drop. And he took her life. Crazy. But let's take a look. Let's see what Nancy Grace has to say about all this. And again, I sped it up, okay? Because we're not going to watch the whole doggone thing. But I am kind of curious what she has to say about all this that's going on. Hold on, let's see the intro.
David Anthony Burke, a.k.a. D4vd, sick cover-up of a brutal murder and dismemberment of a little girl, Celeste, just 13 years old when the two started dating. Alleged motive to cover up while she threatening to go public with their relationship. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us. The platinum artist D4vd, aka David Anthony Burke, arrested on suspicion of murder.
They knew exactly where he was. They knew what he had been doing because there was no public appearances. I mean, David Anthony Burke was gone.
Her body is found dismembered and severely decomposed in the trunk of his Tesla.
Today, I am announcing the charges against David Anthony Burke, the musician known as David, spelled D4vd, in connection with the brutal and horrific murder of Celeste, a 14-year-old at that time. These charges include the most serious charges that
D, aka David Anthony Burke, was brought in for the very first time after all these months have passed, and we learned a lot. Straight out to Dave Mack joining us, Crime Stories investigative reporter. Wow, bombshell in the courtroom.
Now, I sped it up just so you guys know, okay? I sped it up just so you guys know, so we can get to the meat and potatoes, all right?
We learned that there was a motive for Celeste's murder, that there was no accidental overdose, or for Pete's sake, a 14-year-old girl dying of natural causes. What, a stroke, a heart attack, cancer? No. Their claim, the state's claim, is that apparently little Celeste threatened to go public with their sex relationship, and he killed her with a sharp tool.
Shamalama ding dong.
That's bad, Dave Mack. Any goodwill D4vd, aka David, aka David Anthony Burke, had, it's over. And then to dismember a child's body, her head found in one plastic bag, her body dismembered, found in a second plastic bag called body bags. Were they actually body bags? Were they trash bags? Does it matter? Don't know, don't care. This is a death penalty qualified case, and don't start up with me, Troy Slayton. He is 21 years old. Go ahead and Google the Supreme Court rulings, Troy. 18 and above are fit for the death penalty in the United States. And yes, I know there's a moratorium in California for now. But to Dave Mack, what happened in the courtroom? Hit me.
Okay, first off, so this is what it's like when she's on Yayo. I'm kidding. Because I have it sped up. So it's like, whoa, she got energy. She got moxie. But one thing is for sure. Hold on. Where is it? Okay. Daniel, thank you so much for the super chat. Just remember, Steve Fisher has the SF investigates. The private investigator has evidence that he had Celeste in one home in L.A. and another girl at another home in L.A. It makes me think that she found out about the other girl. Now, I didn't realize that she had another girl in another home. So that's news to me right there. Okay, let me just keep that a bean. I didn't know that part, but I don't remember that part. I just remember him having another house that he was apparently renting, and he would go and, he would have his friends or, Celeste maybe staying there instead of just staying in the house, maybe because he didn't want too many people asking a lot of questions. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, it is very interesting that if that is true, that could have sparked the reason why she said, I'm about to expose you. And that's the other thing, too. How old was the girl, the other girl? If that is true, how old was the other girl at the other house? Was she young, too? Was she not of age as well? That's a question that I'd like to know, too. Was he trying to put together his own little harem of underage individuals? Like he was a PDF Hugh Hefner or Jeffrey Epstein? I mean, that's the thing I'm curious about, right? The other girl was 2 years younger than him. Okay. But he apparently, if that's true, he had other girls in other homes at the same. That's just crazy. That is just crazy. But let us continue with our conversation.
It was shocking, Nancy, that D4vd, a.k.a. David Anthony Burke, is charged with first-degree murder, including special circumstances. You mentioned a minute ago, Nancy, any goodwill is now gone. The allegation is that he was lying, that David Anthony Burke was lying in wait. He committed the murder for financial gain. He murdered the witness in an investigation. He mutilated human remains. And they also accused him of lewd and lascivious acts with an individual under the age of 14. But Nancy, in the allegation, we have hardcore dates of when this happened. April 23rd, 2025, David Anthony Burke invited Celeste to his home in the Hollywood Hills. She showed up, and that's the last time she was ever seen alive. The DA claims that she was murdered that night.
That is a very big deal. So in other words, in my opinion, he wrote some text messages that are totally exposing himself. There was correspondence of some sort. I think she literally sent him a text basically saying, listen, I know what you did to me and what you did is wrong. And I'm about to expose you. I'm about to go to the police, or I'm about to go online and say all of this. We don't know. We don't know. Seems a little bit weird and it's crazy, right? But the last correspondence that he had with Celeste was, hey, come on over. Let's talk. Can you come over? Please. Let's just have a conversation real quick. God only knows what he said. Whatever he said was enough for her to be convinced to go over to his place or meet him up somewhere for her to lose her life. Okay? Yeah, Ella, he be dumb. He be hella dumb. But thank God he's hella dumb. Because if he was not hella dumb, we'd still be sitting here wondering if he's ever going to get arrested. So the fact that they went through text messages and were able to go through evidence, 40 terabytes of evidence, they're able to piece some things together. Now, we have heard that there isn't smoking gun evidence. It's not like one thing that is a smoking gun evidence, that there's a lot of pieces to this puzzle that point towards David actually doing this thing and being a very bad man for doing what he did. That there's not like a photo of him standing over her with a sharp object in his hand. No. But they do have enough to take him down. They do have more than enough to take him down.
David Anthony Burke was lying in wait inside that home, and he killed her with that sharp instrument. Then, another date, Nancy. May 5, 2025.
Hold on. Dave Mack, let's just digest what you just said. Straight out to Troy Slayton. He is a veteran criminal defense attorney joining us out of this jurisdiction of L.A. Whoa, wait a minute. You're a candidate for the L.A. Superior Court? Is that true?
I am. I'll be on the ballot this June. Oh,
dear Lord in heaven. You on the bench. The prosecutors are going to cry if you win. The defense attorneys will dance in the halls, but that means you can't join us. So, okay, that's out. Troy Slayton, can we talk about this lying in wait? Did you hear what Dave Mack just said? Lying in wait. That is an aggravating circumstance because it tells a jury the person had plenty of time to cool down and not do the act. They were that intent on the murder. They lie in wait. That's creepy.
Well, it's not just creepy, but in the California jurisdiction, Nancy, it's a special circumstance. And it's one of the reasons why District Attorney Nathan Hochman has decided to potentially seek life in prison without possibility of parole or even the death penalty. Now, I know that you mentioned in the warm-up that there is a moratorium on the death penalty, but that can change when the governor changes. We're having an election here in November. In June is the primary.
Troy
November,
Slayton.
we can have a new governor who decides to reimpose the death penalty.
You know, I don't care about politics. I could not give a flying fig about politics. They all lie. It's like swimming through a cesspool.
Whether or not the death penalty.
Exactly. And I guarantee you, whoever is running may have a good shot, since it's now coming out that the California governor got somebody to pay $1.something million to buy his own books. No comment. Don't care. I care what it means for this. You're saying that a new governor could try to get into office by claiming they're going to get rid of the moratorium on the death penalty.
They could, Nancy, and that's why the district attorney's office here, a very experienced prosecutor, has been assigned by Nathan Hochman, Beth Silverman, and she could very well decide to seek the death penalty in this case. This case is death penalty eligible. And even if they decided not to seek the death penalty, I can tell you that the district attorney's office is going to seek life without possibility of parole.
Okay, back to you, Dave Mack. Can you pick it back up on lie in wait? Oh, hold on just a moment. Joining me, Dr. Bethany Marshall, because you know what I noticed, Dave Mack, is no matter how much I put it to Troy Slayton, he ignored the fact that I was asking about lying in wait and instead went off down the garden path about the law surrounding the death penalty in politics. Dr. Bethany Marshall, renowned psychoanalyst, joining us out of this jurisdiction, L.A. She is the author of Deal Breakers. You can see her now on Peacock and Bravo and find her at drbethanymarshall.com. Dr. Bethany Marshall, why is it so chilling to think he, according to prosecutors, D4vd, let's see D4vd and some of his photos in his blood-drenched outfits. Now, these blood-drenched outfits were all marketing tools. Okay, there you go. And there's a lot more. And Dr. Bethany, that's a whole nother can of worms. Oh, good gravy. This takes on a whole new meaning when I got to think about a 14-year-old little girl getting dismembered by him.
I mean, good gravy indeed, right? My Lord. Yeah, he was making merch. And of course, this is all part of his, this plan that he's trying to put together, right? All the while, a lot of these things he was already doing before he took her life, like the promos and all that. All that stuff happened before he actually took her life. Just so you know, like he did all these photos and the promo videos and all those things were already done before she actually lost her life. But it is also interesting that there was already murder on his mind. You see what I'm saying? There was already cryptic images and blood-soaked, blood-stained shirts and everything just, romantic homicide, all that. Those songs were already made before he actually took her life, just so you know. So his mindset was already in this world, which is weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, like I said, it's like a black Marilyn Manson. You see what I'm saying? It's just, it's weird. It's weird, but that's real.
Freakazoid. I wonder if there's any.
She said freakazoid. She said freakazoid. Yep. Freakazoid.
Any way I could get this in aggravating circumstances. But that said, what Troy Slate, doesn't want to talk about is the act, Bethany, of lying in wait. You know what, Dr. Bethany, every time the twins come home, I have a hiding spot, and it never gets old. I jump out right as they turn the corner, and it scares them. And the lying in wait, I hear them come in the back door. I hear their footsteps. I can tell by the way their footsteps sound who it is, and I jump out at the right moment. It always scares them. That said, the lying in wait, the victim is coming, you're going to kill her, and you wait for the moment to jump out and murder a 14-year-old little girl that, according to prosecutors, you have been having with, and you don't want your music career down the crapper because people find out about statutory bam.
But Nancy, it also suggests that there's something perverse and creepy about why he killed her that's beyond trying to protect his music career. And that is that he has all those shirts with the blood spatters all over them. That tells me that perhaps he was also sadistic. We already know that there was a power differential between the two of them, not just because of age, but in a way that follows the pattern of domestic violence. He isolated her from her friends, isolated her from her families. There's that one picture where she's holding the Louis Vuitton purse in front of her face. So she's already, hiding from the people around her who could rescue her from this situation. We know that victims of domestic violence.
Oh, there it is, Bethany. Hey, look at your screen. Right there. And almost every picture they took together, he has her hiding her face. Look, you're right.
He has her.
That's weird, right? Like constantly hiding her face and all that. And I get it. We all know now why. It's not because he was planning on taking her life later on. No, it's because he's trying to cover the fact. He's trying to cover up the fact that he was having a relationship with an underage girl. Come on. Come on now. Let's be real. Okay? He clearly knew what he was doing was wrong. Oh, let's not forget this too. This girl was also reported missing a whole bunch of times. I'm just going to hit the dun as well. So you don't think That he was sitting there trying to do everything he could to cover his own ass? Of course he's not going to sit there and... Of course he's not going to have her face all up in these photos. She's a missing girl. She was reported missing several different times. You don't think somebody's looking at the, missing poster and going, oh my God, I just saw her on social media. Someone call the cops. She's alive. I found her. She's with D4vd. So one thing is for sure. He was trying to cover his tracks because he knew he was in a illegal as hell and disgusting relationship with this young girl. The other thing too, she was always running away. So she was already reporting missing. And he's a famous and popular person. You don't think people would be able to do the reverse math and say, wait a second, she's a missing girl and he's with this girl. And then they do the reverse math and it's like, holy crap, she's only 13 years old. The hell is going on here? You see what I'm saying? So again, of course, that's why you see in those live chats and the videos that she has, she's got big old glasses. She's got the hoodie over her head because they're trying to cover up her identity so it doesn't come back to bite him in the ass. Because they both knew that the relationship that they were in was not legal, y'all. And the fact that she was on the run. Come on. Crazy.
This is domestic violence right in that picture. And Nancy, women are more likely to get killed when they're about to leave the violent relationship. Always, always, always. But Nancy, those blood spattered shirts, that tells me that there was a bit of a glorification of the eventual slaughter. I don't see homicide, I see slaughter. The words are very important in my field. And when you look at that, it means that this was the final glory act. I think it's easy in the eyes of the law to say, he's witness tampering. That's a very safe phrase. We all know what that means. Why don't we use the word slaughter the victim because it's sexually and emotionally exciting? I think that's what we're really talking about here.
Sexually and emotionally exciting. Dr. Bethany, you just took me off course, and I'm actually glad you did because I hadn't thought of a sexual excitement from murdering a little girl. I want you to explain to me the frame of mind of someone that lies in wait. Now, for me, that's a technical legal term that I use as an aggravating circumstance to either seek the death penalty or show intent to a jury. Intent, of course, only takes the flash of a moment, the blink of an eye to form. Under the law, there's no required time for intent. But the lying in wait aspect adds an entire cold and calculating nature to the murder.
But not only that, Nancy, it is wanting to terrify the victim and also wanting to render the victim unaware. So you think with pedophilia, there's this broad age difference between the two. She was not aware initially that she was being groomed. We think of serial killers, cutting off the head of the victim. They don't want the victim to be aware of what they're about to do. That's a part of the perverse nature of this type of homicide, is that there's a stalking component, Nancy, like a cold-blooded stalking component, but also in all perversions, you do not want the victim to be completely aware of what you are about to do. So I wonder what their sex play was like throughout this relationship. I wonder what he did to her. Did he torture her?
Why are you even saying that, Dr. Beth?
I'm about to do a Nancy Grace and interrupt her too. Haven't you noticed? I'm sorry, but haven't you noticed that every time that Nancy Grace, has a guest on, she always interrupts them? You ever notice that? Shout out to Nancy Grace though. She's fantastic. She's love her stuff. Okay, you know what I mean. I know it's polarizing. Some people some people are not a fan of her and all that stuff. It is what it is. Okay, I enjoy her. It's never a dull moment with Nancy Grace. But have you noticed that she always interrupts? Like always, she always does. But I would have interrupted right there. I'm like, I don't want to know all that nasty stuff. I don't want to know all that. What I want to know is why and how. And was he alone when he did it? And where did he put her body? Did he really just leave her body in the front trunk of his Tesla for 4 months? Or did he move that body around? Was that body really put into a standalone deep freezer or not? When he cut her up, was it on his own, or did he get help? Who are the other people that were a part of this? Are there accomplices? Because I'd like to know who these mother-loving accomplices are. You feel me? But I don't need to know all this, the salacious, nasty, hibbity-dibbity thing. Golly, I don't need to know. Okay? She's a child. I don't need to know about that. I don't. But prosecution knows enough. Okay? Prosecution knows enough that they had some sort of carnal relation with each other for a full year. Okay? They said it was happening for over a year that they were together like this. Okay? It's disgusting. Okay? It's disgusting and wrong. We're going to continue though. But real quick, guys, do me a solid. I see a bunch of y'all in here and I appreciate you guys spending your time with me. Hopefully I'm keeping you entertained and informed at the same time. All I ask for you to do is to simply hit that subscribe button down below. Hit that follow button if you're watching on these other platforms, okay? Hit that like button down below, please. Hit that like button down below. Can we get it to like 1K? It takes 2 seconds to go to 1K. We're almost there. We're very close to 1K. Just hit that like button down below, okay? There's a lot to talk about. We're going to continue on with this. But again, like I said, man, we don't need to know the gruesome details on that. What we need to know is how she lost her life. That's what we need to know. Did he really lie in wait? Did he really attack her when she least expected it? Was it him that did the fatal blow, or did he have somebody else do it for him? That's the thing that I want to know as well.
Anthony Marshall, their sex play. This is statutory. A child cannot consent to sex play. That is certainly putting perfume on the pig. I'm going to let you think about what you just said for just a moment. Dave.
Oh, my God. Oh, my dear God. She is... she is intense. Oh, my dear God. She's like, I'm gonna let you think about what you just said, okay? Hell is wrong with you, sick mother. Like, yeah, I get it, though. It is kind of interesting to ask what actually happened, so on and so forth. But let's continue on.
That's got to be lifted. Okay, Joe Scott Morgan joining me, professor of forensics, Jacksonville State University. He is the author of Blood Beneath My Feet on Amazon. He is a star of a hit podcast, Body Bags with Joe Scott Morgan. But for my purposes, he is a death investigator with over 10,000 death scenes of all sorts under his belt. If she's been dismembered in the most brutal way in 2 body bags, head in one of them, this little girl, let me see, Celeste, this little girl's head was severed from her body. Her. 13 when she started, quote, dating D4vd, a.k.a. David Anthony Burke. Her head was severed from her body. Think about it. Think about the effort of severing her head and what ghouls were around when it was done.
Play.
Okay,
Rodney,
the rest of her body dismembered. It's not like the rest of her body was intact and put in a bag. It was dismembered too. So with all of that dismembering going on, how in the world do they know at the medical examiners that she was murdered with a sharp object? For those of you just joining us, D4vd, David Anthony Burke, has pled not guilty in a court of law. We'll see about that. Okay, Joe Scott, hit it.
One word, Nancy, hemorrhage. That's what they're going to be looking for. So they've talked about the sharp instrument. All right. When you have an attack that occurs, in life, blood is coursing through our veins. If he stabbed her, for instance, first off, stab wounds are going to look very specific, say on her torso, her chest, even her face, Nancy. And yeah, even in an advanced decompositional state, microscopically, with tissue sections, we can actually appreciate if there is indwelling hemorrhage. Hemorrhage is indicative of an injury that occurred in life.
Oh, dear Lord, man, wait. I'm sorry. I did not ask you to read out of Britannica. Speak English. Regular people talk. Street talk. Vernacular, as I like to say. Regular, commonplace, vernacular. Hemorrhages. You mean bruises. But can you go in depth on that? Because her whole body has been dismembered. How in all of that? It's like putting together a jigsaw puzzle. How do you find a hemorrhage and differentiate between a bruise, which is a hemorrhage, and her body getting cut apart, Joe Scott?
Because the dead don't bleed is what it comes down to. So when a body is dismembered, you're not going to have hemorrhaging. You're saying bruising, but you're not going to have hemorrhaging in that area. Let's say an arm is removed.
You mean bleeding?
Yeah. So you're not going to, if you have an arm removed from the torso, that area, when you look at that tissue microscopically, Nancy, it's not going to show bleeding into the surrounding tissue. All right. However, if you have a sharp force injury that tracks back to the fatal event, you will have specific signs of hemorrhage in there. That's because blood at that point in time was still coursing through her body, Nancy. And listen, it's not easy to do this because she is in such an advanced state of decomposition, because we're talking months and months and months in that LA heat in the front of that car. You think about that, and that's going to compromise. I think that's probably one of the reasons it's taken so long for them to make a specific diagnosis here. I've been involved in cases like this in the past, and you have to go over every jot and tittle to try to disseminate between what happened in the antemortem or prior to death state as opposed to the postmortem state, Nancy.
If you have been leaning on credit cards lately just to cover...
I'm from Queens, New York. I'm in Houston now. I am a gamer. I love video games. I want to be a professional gamer before music. That's actually what pushed me into music, was getting copyright strikes on YouTube. And I kind of just used my own music in my montages after my mom told me to, because I was crying to her about it.
That from our friends at Genius. And he is very concerned that I might call him D4vd. His name is David Anthony Burke, and he has been charged with murder 1, which is a whole nother can of worms. Murder 1. Continuous of a child under 14, which means started when she was 13, when they first started, quote, dating. Mutilation of human remains. Wow. We've been waiting. Justice for Celeste. Justice for Celeste. Now, do we have it? HELLNO. No justice until there is a sentence. This is a death penalty case, but will the prosecution seek the death penalty or go hide under their desk the way the prosecutor did in the Brian Kohberger case? We'll see what happens. That said, much is being made of how this case will be proved because the killer, allegedly David Anthony Burke, dismembered the body. Time passed. Her body decomposed. Witnesses disappeared. Their memories faded. Straight out to Brian Fitzgibbons joining us. Director Operations, USPA Nationwide Security. He leads a team of investigators around the world. He is a former Marine. He is an Iraqi war vet, which I believe says it all. Fitzgibbons, when you are looking for missing people, when you are putting together a case, see, I love forensics. Joe Scott and I could talk about forensics all night long. Never get tired of it. Fingerprints, for hair, fiber, mitochondrial DNA, mixed DNA. Nothing could make me happier than to delve into those intricacies. But practical matter. A jury likes to hear from witnesses. I've been thinking about the D4vd case a long time and knew in my heart, once her body was found dismembered, that we would need witnesses to say, I saw them, fill in the blank. How do you find the witnesses, and how do you gently convince them to testify?
Yeah, so something that we've been saying right from the beginning of this case, Nancy, and the DA in the press conference alluded to it. There was a tremendous surveillance effort on D4vd, David, and his associates. For them to have this hard of a
there's
time.
Neo. See him? Remember him, Brian Fitzgibbons? Neo Langston that went hid out under his mommy's bed in another state, and we had to get a material witness warrant to drag him back in by his toenails. He did not want to testify, but he did. Speaking of witnesses, I sorry to interrupt. I just wanted you to see Neo. They were former best friends. Okay, go ahead, Brian. I just wanted you to see Neo, one of those
Former
witnesses.
lovers, possibly.
Yeah, and you at least had Neo, who was refusing to cooperate at the beginning. So now the DA and the chief of police present a hard timeline. April 23rd, Celeste Rivas was murdered. May 5th, her body was dismembered. What does that tell us? There's some evidence, be it from a witness or digital evidence from witnesses talking about this case, that point to this timeline. That didn't come just from the forensic evidence. This comes from somebody associated to the murder of Celeste Rivas that has either cracked or been found out through a digital investigation or a surveillance effort.
Today, I am announcing the charges against David Anthony Burke, the musician known as David, spelled D4vd, in connection with the brutal and horrific murder of Celeste, a 14-year-old. These charges include the most serious charges that a DA's office can bring. That is first-degree murder with special circumstances. The special circumstances being lying in wait, committing this crime for financial gain, or murdering a witness in an investigation. These special circumstances carry with it, along with the first-degree murder charge, a maximum sentence of life without the possibility of parole or the death penalty. The determination on whether or not the district attorney's office will seek the death penalty will be made at a later time.
There you see the elected district attorney in LA announcing the charges and special circumstances. There's more.
There are additional charges against Mr. Burke, including continuous acts, lewd and lascivious acts with an individual under 14 years old, and mutilating a human remains of a body. On April 23, 2025, as been alleged by the complaint, Celeste, a 14-year-old at that time, went to Mr. Burke's house in the Hollywood Hills. She was never heard from again. On September 8, 2025, as alleged in the complaint, Miss Celeste's remains, her dismembered and decomposed remains, were found in 2 bags inside of a front trunk of a car registered to Mr. Burke.
What were they thinking? Now,
I think a lot of us are wanting to know what was he thinking, or what were they thinking if he had help. And that's the thing. Is he going to say anything? Is he going to expose more people that were involved in this situation or not? That's the question I have. Okay. And of course, if you guys want to watch the rest of it, by all means, go and check out the full video if you want. Okay. But there have been a lot of pushback in regards to this. You know, some people are not feeling this. Like Mark Garagos has quite a bit to say about this. I want to share this with y'all too. Take a look at this.
The DA is absolutely taking issue with something you said on our podcast. You said that the LAPD essentially went rogue and decided to arrest David Thursday late afternoon because the DA wasn't taking action and that it would force the DA's hand to do something. The DA's office told us as recently as this morning, on the record, that everything the DA and LAPD did was in lockstep, and that this was coordinated. To that, you say what?
I call BS on that, by the way, because the fact, if it was coordinated and if they were going to bring a special circumstance, no bail, 3 different special circumstances charge, they would have filed a criminal complaint or they would have gotten an indictment. There's gamesmanship happening here, and you will continue to see gamesmanship, because I'm going to make another bold prediction. They did not expect the defense to fail to waive time, meaning normally what they would have expected in the DA's office is they dump terabytes of information on the defense. The defense says, Your Honor, we don't have time to digest all of this. We need more time. We're going to waive our right to a speedy preliminary hearing. They didn't do that. The defense did. They actually made the next chess move and said, we're not waiving time. We want our speedy preliminary hearing, which pushes back on the DA, who's now going to have to call an audible and try to go to the so-called investigative grand jury, which I find to be hilarious. And they will go get an indictment, because they're not going to put witnesses on in a case where 2 months, you guys may remember this, 2 months after her discovery of her body, LAPD was saying we're not even sure a crime was committed. So understand everything that has happened here. This was LAPD after they received information that when they went outside of the ME's office, medical examiner's office, they then forced the DA to file this case. The idea that after 7 or 8 months of an investigation where you put witnesses in front of a grand jury, and then all of a sudden you're going to arrest somebody on a Thursday afternoon, knowing that under these peculiar LA county rules, you don't have to take somebody in front of a judge until Monday morning, that speaks volumes. And the fact that they haven't addressed that, I think, tells you everything you need to know.
The thing that really struck me was the business about the sharp instrument. I don't know if it lands with you the way it does with me, but it's like the body was dismembered, put in 2 bags. So it was severely dismembered and decomposed. And you dismember a body with a sharp instrument. I mean, that's the only way of doing it. So it's just confusing to me how the coroner.
How did they find?
Well,
Yeah,
it's not confusing when you put it in context. I had the exact same reaction you two did, and what that tells me, at least, is they had to deal with the fact of the cause and manner, and the only way they could do it was invent this idea that she was she was killed by a blunt instrument. That's the remember
sharp instrument.
I'm sorry, and they have to navigate that because that's the only way that they can come up with some kind of an explanation. There isn't any expert who's going to say beyond a medical certainty that was done as a pre-death as opposed to post-death. There's terms for that, but a cross-examination will reveal that that's not a medical certainty, and that's complete speculation.
Yikes. So here's the thing. Again, prosecution's going to have a hard time too. They're going to have a hard time. They will have a hard time. But here's the thing, though, because of how badly decomposed and how badly mutilated the body was to begin with, it's going to be very hard for them to prove certain things. But at the same time, though, I think that there's enough evidence that leads to the death of this girl that's going to make things very difficult for it's going to be very difficult for David to try to say that he's innocent. That's what I'm thinking. That's the impression that I'm getting, that he's going to have a very, very hard time trying to show that that he didn't do anything at all. I think it's going to be very, very difficult for him. This is not going to be a cakewalk at all for him. At all. Okay, but I get it. Prosecution still has to prove things. It's not like it's not going to be a cakewalk for them either. But there's enough evidence that they're slowly but surely trying to show to us that there was something nefarious going on that could show motive on why he did not want to have her around anymore, that he wanted her to cease to exist anymore. There is motive, and they can prove that through all the things that they have as far as the text messages, the 40 terabytes of information and data that they have. Trust me, there's a lot going on here. Now, again, you can even throw out the whole conversation of if he was a good friend, if they were just friends. Regardless, this girl has been found in his car. Cut out all the salacious sexual stuff, right? Just throw that off to the side really quick and just look at everything else, right? There's a lot that's going on here that seems strange and makes him look guilty as hell. Now, here's the thing. Let's just put on the table the possibility that he didn't do this, that he had nothing to do with her demise. That girl's body was in his car. And if they say that that girl's body was in his car for 4 months, you mean to tell me, like, they could present this to the jury. You mean to tell me that he had no earthly clue that she was in his car this entire mother-loving time? You realize, and you realize how dumb that is. You realize how far-fetched that idea is. That at the same time he decided not to use his car ever again is the same time that her body is stashed in his car without his knowledge. I find that strange. Like I said, he's got a massive uphill battle to try to prove his innocence. I'm being real. He's got a lot to work for. He's got a lot to fight for. I feel like prosecution, yes, there's going to be tough things that they got to do. There's going to be information that they have to prove without a shadow of a doubt that he did those things, so on and so forth. But their struggle is not as bad as David's struggle to try to prove that he's 110% innocent in this whole situation. Okay? And yes, Ray Brown, yes, they would have most definitely mentioned at in this press conference if she was with child, but she was not. Okay, they already proved that with autopsy, toxicology reports and all that stuff that they did in the past. She did not have any she was not with child. Okay, not with child at all. So obviously, the thing we all want to know is what actually happened here. How did that happen? And if it isn't David, who's the person that did it? Real talk. Who's the person that mother loving did it? I think we all want to know exactly what's going on here, right? Who did this? Why did they do this? And if it's David, which I truly think it is, may he get everything that is coming to him. Just saying that out loud. So we got a couple things that we got to talk about, okay? There are a few things that we need to discuss. We got to kind of go into the, let's see, actually, hold on. Let me see. No, we're going to go over here. LAPD chief. We're still on the David D4vd conversation. Hold on. Yeah, the evidence is overwhelming, guys. The evidence alone, I get it that there's going to be lawyers and other people that are going to be naysayers, basically saying this doesn't make any sense. Why didn't they, arrest the dude? Why didn't they do this a long time ago? He was supposed to be hit with charges a long time ago. Why didn't they do it a long time? I get it all day. Okay. I get it all day long. Trust me, but trust and believe I get it. But I'm telling you right now, they already had enough when they found her body, guys. That's the one thing that pisses me off. They sat and they dragged their asses to arrest D4vd. D4vd should have been arrested a long ass time ago. And I get it. They wanted to make sure they cross every T and dot every lowercase J before they arrest this mother lover. But at the same time, there was enough already pitted against him before they even jumped into investigating his ass. You understand? They didn't need to do all this crap. They could have gotten him a long ass time ago. And they didn't, which is weird. But the LAPD chief speaks on this case. Let's take a look at this, too.
So from a famous singer arrested for murder to a string of break-ins in the Valley, it's been a busy month for LAPD.
LAPD Chief Jim McDonnell is here to talk all about that. Good morning.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Want to start with the David case. We've been talking about this. He's been charged with murdering 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, currently segregated from the other inmates, correct?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. First, our thoughts go out to the family for what they've had to endure, family of Ms. Rivas. Yeah. It's horrible to even imagine what they've been through for the last year.
Did you meet with them?
I personally have not. Our detectives have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what have they, I'm sure it's been a long, confusing process. Yeah. I can't imagine what they're going through.
A lot of speculation because of the notoriety of the case. So many people come up with their own ideas of what happened or didn't happen, and some of it was so far off the mark through the middle months of this in particular. And the family, while it may be entertainment for some, the family, it's certainly not. It's something very, very serious, and I think we all need to take a step back on some of these major cases and let the process work its way through. Our detectives did a tremendous amount of work on this under very, very difficult circumstances, and ended up being criticized for not making an arrest fast enough.
Let's talk about that a little bit more. I think this case is getting a lot of attention not only because it is a singer and famous to many people, but also she was just 13 when she left her house and then murdered at 14 when she was just 14 years old. And it took 7 months after her body was found for him to be charged. And a lot of people are wondering, why did it take so long?
Yeah, you know, there's an awful lot that goes into you know, to the investigation. The state of the body when it was found was you know, degraded, decomposed, and that creates another set of circumstances of complexity for the investigators and the coroner staff to be able to come up with a determination as to cause and manner of death. Whenever we have a death and it's appropriate, a toxicology has to be done on it, and a tox takes up to 6 months to be able to get the results back from that. But that's critical to know what other factors other than what might have been visible were involved in the determination of the cause of death.
Yeah, I know that these things take time, but man, this one took forever. JLK, thank you so much for the love. Thank you, Pascal, for your clear and rational thinking every day that keeps us grounded. Oh, of course. Thank you so much for the support. Your show brings me joy, and I'm grateful for you, bro. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so very much. Thank you so much for the support and the super chat. Guys, don't forget to hit that like button down below, okay? That would mean the world to me, okay? So thank you so much.
So a lot of times it takes a while to be able to get the full picture, and this was one of those cases.
Outside of the timeline of the investigation and the timetable, what have been some other big misconceptions about this case?
Oh, there was things that were ludicrous that were put out there during the middle of it. The condition of the body, that part of it was frozen, and you know, the body was found in a vehicle, in the trunk of a vehicle, and you know, things like that that are, you know, I can only imagine frozen there.
Hold on.
And the timetable, what have been some other big misconceptions about this case?
Oh, there was things that were ludicrous that were put out there during the middle of it. The condition of the body, that part of it was frozen, and you know, the body was found in a vehicle, in the trunk of a vehicle.
So he's saying that part is not true. The fact that she was found partially decomposed, partially frozen, is not true. Yeah, there's been an ongoing conversation about her body, you know, not thoroughly thawed out. That she was partially frozen. Yeah, that's an actual thing that's been going on. And now he's sitting here saying that is not true. Now he's trying to debunk that information.
And, you know, things like that that are, you know, I can only imagine what the family was going through while this was playing itself out. But things that made no sense at all.
Because we know that his music has almost like art imitating life in a way. If you look at some of the lyrics, Romantic Homicide is one of the songs.
Right.
Could his lyrics and his songs be even a factor in a trial like this?
Oh, it'll be certainly introduced, I'm sure, and that's something that that will get attention during the trial, and we'll see how that plays itself out. It'd be speculative for me to say anything at this point about how that will look.
And you talked about the body being degraded to a point where it's a little bit more difficult to pull clues from that, extract clues from that. Obviously, there are things that you have not really told the public, or clues or things that you, in your fact finding here, that you have not released to the public. Because on the face of it, some people might look at it and look at this case as a circumstantial one.
Yeah, sure. No, there's things that certainly we don't put out there. It's not our role to be you know, feeding the news media, if you will, or the concern of some of the public. That'll, you know, we have enough to be able to have probable cause to make an arrest, and we present the case to the district attorney. They view all of the evidence and weigh it, and then be able to put together a presentation for a jury at some point. So to say anything beyond what's necessary at this point could potentially jeopardize the case, and we don't want to do that.
Are you looking at only him, or are you looking at the possibility of other people?
You know, the investigation is ongoing, so I wouldn't say you know, ever that it couldn't lead to other places. But yeah, I wouldn't comment on that much at this point.
So anything's possible. Hold on.
A lot
we're gonna
happening.
We're gonna look at that here too, because apparently more ships have been attacked by Iran. We're going to look at that in a little bit. But nonetheless, I mean, that is also just something very interesting that, they're doing everything they can. And I know somebody said, unlike Chris Nanos, from Pima County Sheriff's Office, okay, the Sheriff Nanos, I mean, he's not really, from what we understand, he's not doing much. It feels like he's not doing much. There's a lot more information exposed about how volatile of a person he is, okay? But again, we'll see. You know what I'm saying? We'll see what happens with everything here. Things are still developing. Tomorrow, I will say, we're not done yet. We're still talking. We got news to get into, okay? But this was like the main topic, right? Now we're understanding that they are going to have their preliminary hearing as soon as tomorrow. And I know that they said that they wanted it within like 10 days, and they're having it really soon. So we will be up. We will be live. We will be covering that. We will be having a discussion about all of that live with each other, with all the crazy mucky muck that's going on. Okay, let's just be real. This is absolutely insane. Tomorrow will be a big, intense day. And then, of course, allegedly, things will be exposed and released, to the general public, hopefully by today or, as soon as tomorrow, before they go into trial. So there might be a treasure trove of information. Okay, there might be a treasure trove of information. His preliminary hearing, I know somebody just asked, Dulala, just asked what time. He's supposed to be having his preliminary hearing tomorrow it starts at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that would be 10:30 Central Standard Time, 11:30 Eastern Standard Time, just so you know. And I just want to make sure you guys see this, just so you guys see it for yourselves right there. Okay, according to Lauren Conlon. Okay, shout out to Lauren Conlon. Okay, she's been doing great coverage on this whole case since the beginning. Okay, since its embryo stage. All right, so preliminary hearing for D4vd is tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. All right, there will be no cover. There will be no inside coverage. There will be no cameras inside the courtroom. But I'm sure somebody will be live tweeting it or something of that sort. We will be keeping an eye on it. We'll be talking about it. We'll be covering everything that's going on with that and then some. So definitely tune in tomorrow. Most likely I will be on around that time, which will be 10:30 my time. Okay, 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. We will be here to talk about it all and cover everything that we need to cover. So it's going to be a big day tomorrow. Okay. And maybe a short day. I don't know how long these preliminary hearings are going to last, but we will be here to talk about it. Okay. And in the meantime, we may cover, keep an eye on it, but then of course cover things that are going on the news like we usually do. Okay. Like we always usually do. So here's the thing. We got to jump into this other stuff because there is a lot of other stuff that's going on. Okay. It is crazy that there is actual information. There is what's the word? There are breadcrumbs, a digital crumbs of him having conversations with her as young as 12 years old. That is absolutely insane. Okay. And of course, those were theories and information that was out here in the internet. People were talking about this for a while. And then now we're starting to see that is actually true. He was really having conversations with Celeste before she even hit her teenage years. So in other words, talk about grooming, right? Talk about grooming. So again, pretty insane stuff that's going on here. But we got to hit this other stuff because there's a lot that is going on. We just talked about, it was this breaking news thing. So we're going to talk about this. Okay. That just happened. Iran apparently opened fire on 3 ships. Okay. Allegedly fires on ships without warning. So now they're just opening fire on things, guys. So again, remember when Trump was saying like, hey, ceasefire, I'm going to continue it. We're going to expand. TBD, to be determined indefinitely. while they come up with some sort of ceasefire agreement, while they come up with some sort of peace agreement, so on and so forth. No. Now Iran is still blasting on that ass. Okay? They still blasting that ass. Okay? That's insane. Dave is complaining. We might have to hop back to that here in a second, but let's take a look at this. This is breaking right now as we speak.
This hour, we begin with this alert. President Trump giving the radical Islamic Iran just 3 to 5 more days to come to the table.
Wait.
The White House has confirmed to Fox.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Okay? Hold on. Did he just not say? And we just talked about it in the very beginning of the show. He just said. Ceasefire's open until they can come to us with some information on peace talks and come to some sort of agreement. He basically said ceasefire is indefinite. Now we got this new thing. So since we've been in the David realm, the D4vd realm, okay, he apparently now is saying, I'm going to extend the ceasefire for 3 to 5 more days. 3 to 5 more days. What is it? Is it 3 or 5? I'm sorry. I don't mean to. I'm sorry. I don't mean to raise my voice. I'm sorry. I'm passionate. I'm sorry. I'm a passionate dude. But you said, wait a second. I'm sorry. Lo siento. Okay. My bad. I speak with my heart, and sometimes it just comes out big and loud, and I speak with my hands a lot, and it looks like I'm angry, but I'm not. I'm just a Haitian American man. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, but real talk. Hold up. Trump extending ceasefire for only 3 to 5 days. What is going on here? Is it 3 or is it 5 days? Huh? And is that 3 to 5 business days? Or is that 3 to 5 days? Sac passé? Is that 3 to 5 business days? Or is that 3 to 5 days? Because you know how it be with that 3 to 5 business days. You know that weekends don't count. You feel me? And then the days just kind of hop over the weekend. So Saturday and Sunday don't count. You see what I'm saying? And then it starts again. The counting starts over. You know, it starts again on Monday. Because that's a business day, you feel me? So 3 to 5 business days, what is that? Is it 3 or is it 5? There's allegedly rumor. Don't even know that this is the thing. The White House has declined this, has refused to say if this is true or not, okay? Or actually, they've denied this, okay? But that Trump was trying to get access to nuke codes, and General Sal Chicken or General Kane, okay, they like to call him General Raising Cane because of the fried chicken, the chicken tenders franchise. Anyway, I just call him General Sal Chicken. But anyway, he basically told Trump no. Yeah, General Sal Chicken Kane said no. Allegedly, he wanted his hands on the nuke codes. Allegedly. White House is now denying that and saying that not true. Y'all lying. Shut your mouth. Shush. But Trump said, give me the codes. Give me the codes. You know what I mean? And Raising Cane said, Mark. I mean, he didn't really do it like that. He said no. He's a human being. He's not a human-sized chicken. He just said no. Allegedly. And now Trump is extending ceasefire for 3 to 5 days. Like I said, is it 3 or is it 5? Is it 4? What is it? Because that's confusing. He said they had time, that he was going to extend the time. Maybe it's because they said, oh, you guys, you want to extend the ceasefire? Okay. You know what I mean? And now Trump's like, oh no. But see, here's the thing. We're at this point now where Trump got to figure something out. Which I don't want it to do. I don't want it to do it. I don't want him to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? I want to give peace a chance. You know what I'm saying? We need to give peace a chance. We need to chuck up these deuces. Peace and love, brother. You know, we need that. We need that. But he can't keep on saying, "Oh, one more time." You know, like parents, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Michael, put down that spoon. Don't you dare pick up that spoon. And then they pick up the spoon. Don't you dare put that spoon in that bowl of cereal or that bowl of ice cream. I told you no more ice cream. Michael. And they put the spoon in the bowl of ice cream, looking deep in your eyes. Michael, you better not scoop that up and put that ice cream in your mouth. If you do, I swear to God, Michael. And he just picks up a heaping spoonful of ice cream, still looking at you in your face, deep in your eyes, and eats that ice cream right in your face. You know what I mean? That's literally what we're seeing here. Doesn't that feel like that a little bit? Just a little bit? Michael? Don't you dare. You know what I mean? And he's doing the exact opposite of what you just said not to do. Right? Michael Thomas Johnson. Michael Thomas Johnson, don't you dare. And they just, Michael Thomas Johnson, don't you dare pick up that bowl. You know, and that's kind of what we're at here. At this point, look at what we're looking at, y'all. Look at what we're seeing, man. Now, you know, he keeps saying like 3 to 5 days. We've been talking about, he's been extending like a mug. Are you going to start banging or are you not going to start banging? Because Iran doesn't believe him anymore. And don't get me wrong, I don't want him to commit war crimes, okay? I don't, you see what I'm saying? I don't want to see anything like that, right? But on some real stuff, damn. Now we got an extension of ceasefire again. Let me play this. Apparently there's some information that just came out, so we're going to look at that in a second.
News, the ceasefire extension is limited, not indefinite. Already, we are seeing the extra time being used by Iran's Revolutionary Guard to attack. The IRGC fired on and struck commercial ships in and around the Strait of Hormuz overnight. It seized 2 of those ships early this morning. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. Here's what we know about those attacks. 3 in total. Iran's Navy said it seized 2 container ships in the Strait and now has them off the country's coast. Reports a 3rd cargo ship was also attacked in the waterway, but its path shows it's making its way past where the other 2 vessels were stopped. The attacks came just hours after the announcement from President Trump, quote, "We have been asked to hold our attack on the country of Iran until their leaders can come up with a unified proposal. I have therefore directed our military to continue the blockade and in all other respects remain ready and able, and will therefore extend the ceasefire until their proposal is submitted and discussions are concluded, one way or the other." Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg is on tap for us today on what the president's next move should be.
Look, you break the impasse by just breaking off negotiations. We're saying we're done with these guys. We're finished. And you take a really harder line. You create problems for them. They're a theocratic government. They're led by the supreme leader. You've got the IRGC out there, which is actually distributed because of the Mosaic defensive plan out there. We really don't know who's in charge. So we're just going to say we're in charge and this is what we're going to do. And if that means taking Carg Island or the islands in the Strait, so be it.
A warrior's battlefield plan. You heard it laid out there. Colonel Mike Jernigan is coming up with me in focus. Let's begin with Chief National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin in Washington.
Okay, so I'm stopping that right now because we do have some breaking news. Breaking news. So let me get this off the screen really quick. Obviously, Iran and all that crap is going, it's going crazy. Okay. It's going crazy, but there is some info that has just been revealed about Celeste Rivas. I guess her cause of demise has been revealed. Her autopsy. There's more information that's coming out. So let's take a look at this. This is breaking news, guys. Holy crap. Take a look at this. Medical examiner says she was killed by 2 penetrating wounds. So let's take a look at this, guys. We're looking at a couple different articles here. So just ride with me because this is all breaking news. So come on back in. I know some of y'all are like, well, he's talking politics. I'm not interested anymore. But we back to Celeste Rivas. We're back to D4vd and all that. This is absolutely insane. So let's see what this is all about. I have not seen any of this yet. So we're about to look at this with our own 2 eyes as well, live on the show. So please hit that like button down below. Don't forget to subscribe, baby. Don't forget to subscribe. Celeste Rivas' cause of demise has been revealed, and the medical examiner in Los Angeles says she was unalived by multiple penetrating injuries with unspecified objects. Okay. And her death, as we already know, has been ruled a homicide. The medical examiner says there are, quote unquote, 2 penetrating wounds of the torso with smooth edges that may represent sharp force injuries. The wound, 3/4 inch length and 1.5 or 1.5 inches deep on the upper abdomen, penetrates the liver, and the wound on the left chest. Okay, 9/16 inch length and 2 inches deep, penetrates one of the left intercostal spaces with disruption of the adjacent ribs, cortical surfaces. So let's see here. This is interesting. Some interesting, okay. Interesting. We're going to have to look at that here in a second. Hold on. It's interesting that the ME, medical examiner, uses the word may, which is something the defense will jump on. Absolutely. They'll run with that for sure. This will also be an interesting issue at trial. The autopsy report says there is a presumptive positive for meth and MDMA. Presumptive positive. What does that mean exactly? Presumptive positive. Hold on. We're going to look at that. We're going to look that up. But you got methamphetamine and MDMA. But there was another screening which says meth was inconclusive and the MDMA was not detected. The report says Celeste may have had alcohol in her system, but it did not contribute to her demise. The body was badly decomposed, which we already know. Her head was partially skeletonized with an absent left eye. Her remains were found in a black body bag and a black trash bag in David's Tesla. The The medical examiner also confirms what we were told last week by a high-ranking source in the LAPD. Her manner of death is indeed a homicide. So prosecutors allege D4vd murdered Celeste with a sharp object on April 23rd, 2025, and then waited a couple of weeks to cut up her body and then stuff it into 2 bags. He then allegedly kept the bags in his Tesla front trunk for 4 months until they discovered it, of course, in September, after the car was towed into tow yard. We already know about this. Cops say the state of the body when found made it difficult for the ME to figure out the cause and manner of death. The body was severely decomposed. So he pleaded not guilty Monday after being charged with 1 count each of murder, continuous SA of a child under the age of 14, and unlawful mutilation of human remains. Now, hold on. Before we go on to more things, let me just save this image really quick, because we need to take a good look at this image here before we continue on. Okay? Medical examiners, like their drawings. Let me just pull this up so we can see this. Blammo. Okay, so let's take a look at this really quick. Okay. So this is what they were talking about, the 3/4, 3 to 9, 3 to 9 o'clock. I mean, it's hard to read what's being said here, right? Hold on, so you guys can see a little bit better. 1.5 inch depth. That's pretty crazy. So these are the fatal blows that she received. These are the fatal blows that she received. Hold on. Because I know I just asked the question, what does mean presumptive positive mean on a drug test? So a presumptive, I'm just going to read this off screen. Presumptive positive drug test is an initial rapid screening that indicates that the possible presence of a substance or its metabolic above a set cutoff level. It is not a final identification and requires a secondary, more specific test to make it valid, as it can yield false positives due to cross reactivity with other substances. So they did one, and then they did another one, and it seems like it came back that, if I have that correct, she didn't have it, didn't have in her system what they say she had in her system. In fact, I'm going to read that off screen here really quick again about the substances that allegedly they were running or may have found. So they're saying that the autopsy report says there's a presumptive positive for meth and MDMA. But there was another screening which says the meth was inconclusive and MDMA was not detected. So they ran it. It seemed like that it was there, and then it wasn't there after the second testing. Then also at the same time, they say that she may have had alcohol in her system. So she may have gone over there and had a drink with him, and then he attacked her, which is possible. Or You never know. Maybe he made her comfortable, was rapping with her for a little bit, made her feel like everything's going to be okay. And then he, maybe they got together. And then while she's asleep, he attacked her. You know what I mean? Pretty insane. Says multiple defects off on the side over here. 1 to 1 3/4. Yeah, 6-inch. Looks like 6-inch top of shoulder, I guess. 6. What? Yeah. Intact hardware. It looks like intact hardware present. I guess there was like decomposition going on. Partially her head was partially skeletonized. Something with extensive post-mortem changes. Fingers were absent. Like her left 2 fingers were absent. Yeah, they said one of her eyes was missing. Her left eye was missing. Oh, globe. Yeah, I guess it means eye. Eye was not present. So her left eye was missing. Okay. But her other eye was there, but it was definitely decomposing. You got 2 fingers on her left that were missing. They found the tattoo with the sh on her right index finger right here. I guess this is where she was getting, oh, dear Lord. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay, now I'm getting it. Now I'm getting what's going on. These lines, if I'm correct, are where she was cut at. This is what I'm getting so far. These lines right here, boom, boom, boom. Like, I think he cut off her foot. You see what I'm saying? This is where she was dismantled. You know? And it seems like he cut here, then cut here, then cut here, which is weird. Then he cut here. Then he removed these 2 fingers. Why? Don't know. They're not anywhere to be found. Right? He cut here, 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 and here. I wonder what this is. I guess she was still a Jane Doe at that time. Multiple abrasions on her right hand. And I guess there was like, maybe this was like multiple defects. Maybe that's decomposing. You know what I mean? She was decomposing. So there's, like her skin, you know what I mean? Started to, like I said, it started to rot. But it looks like that is some insane, that is some crazy work, y'all. That is some crazy, 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 crazy work, y'all. Have mercy. We got more. We ain't done. But this is crazy. Okay? This is some dirt. This is some nasty work. Okay? So I'm thinking those lines that we're seeing on the left side, or sorry, on the right side of the screen, the diagram where all the lines are. Yeah, I think that's where she was severed. Okay? right? Which is insane, if you ask me. Okay? So she definitely was in pieces. There's definitely some serious decomposition going on. They said that. That's very true. There was a lot of decomposition. Okay? So much that you could see it on the back of her, on the side, right here on the side, because they keep saying that's a little defect, like a 5/8 defect, 5/8 of an inch defect over here on her, right on her rib cage, on the left side of her rib cage. Obviously, one of her eyes was missing. Her face was partially skeletonized. Man. But yeah, he or whoever helped him do this definitely tried to dismantle her as best as they could. That's what's up, Creepshow. You wanted to be a homicide investigator in the early years. That's what draws me to these cases. I mean, that's very interesting. Hey, we need more of them in the world. I will say that. I don't have the stomach for it personally. Okay. But I commend anybody who can do this kind of stuff without any problems. That takes some guts. I'm gonna be real. But yeah, guys, this is absolutely crazy. Hold on. I'm having a weird situation. Hold on one second. Oh, it's on the wrong thing. Damn. There we go. Much better. Had to fix that really quick. So yeah, guys, that's absolutely insane. Let's get to this next part. There's more. Medical examiner reveals cause of death for Celeste Rivas. Let's take a look at this as well. Breaking news, guys. This is all just coming out just now. This is absolutely insane. Okay, this is absolutely insane. Now, here's the thing. Aurora. Okay, what is TMZ saying? TMZ is basically saying that they ran tests on her. Some things came up, like she had substances in her system, but then suddenly those things were not in her system after they ran it again. They ran it 2 different times. One time it sounded like she had something in her system, like meth, okay, like MDMA. And then they ran it again, only to find out that that came back negative. They do believe that there's a possibility that she did have some drinks before she lost her life, or that there was alcohol in her system at the moment of her demise. But we don't know. It still doesn't change the fact that he allegedly did this. Okay. He did this, guys, in my personal opinion, but we got to be safe here. Allegedly. All right. So again, no matter what, he may have lured her in to be like, hey, come on, we good? Listen, hey, come on over here. Come on, babe, we friends. Come have a drink with me. Come on, we cool. Let's just kick it. Let's just hang out. Let's just hang out. Let's play some video games. Let's just chill. Let's have some drinks. Let's just do bop, 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 bop. And then when he got her in there and comfortable, he attacked. Or even weirder, even wilder, what if they got drunk? She said some things, and that triggered him. And then he took her life. What if they were, maybe, what if he was like, just come over, we're going to talk. Let's just, hey, we're friends. Let's just talk real quick. Hold up. You got it all wrong. Come over. This, I got a couple drinks here. I got some liquor. We got, we can just chill, watch a movie or something like that, have some drinks, have a good time. Bop, bop, bop. Maybe she gets too drunk. And then she starts talking, being like, I'm about to make your life a living hell. What you did to me is wrong, blah, blah, blah. And then he snaps and he took her life. I'm just saying the possibilities, okay, are endless here. Okay. So again, I don't know. But maybe that's what it was. And maybe he already knew all along that he was going to go and attack her and take her life. Maybe he knew that. And this was his way of trying to make the situation a little bit more easier so that she's more vulnerable by maybe plying her with some liquor. And then when she was good and drunk, he attacks her. That could be it too, right? God only knows. But given the fact that there was possible liquor or other hardcore substances in her system, says a lot. Says a lot. But let's see what they're saying here. Okay. So medical examiner, LA County medical examiner has revealed that her cause of demise, whose remains were found, of course, last year, which we already know. Medical examiner listed multiple penetrating injuries caused by an object or objects as the cause of her demise. Okay. The teens, dear Lord, decomposed remains were discovered in September 2025 inside the Tesla. We already know about all that as well. Let's move on. Police said her death likely occurred in the spring of last year. So after several months, I'm grateful this information can now be released, not only to the public, but also to the grieving family enduring loss. This is what the chief medical examiner said. It is unfathomable they have had to wait this long to learn what happened to their daughter. The transparency of the information contained in our findings and reports is essential for empowering the community to make informed changes to effectively reduce fear and allowing the community to take informed action. Making the department's information publicly available is not just about accountability. It is about social justice and prevention. By ensuring access to this information, we strengthen our ability to learn, to act, and ultimately to prevent the next tragic loss of life. I want to extend my gratitude to our partner agencies for taking the necessary step of filing an order with the court to make this disclosure possible. So in November, the medical examiner said it had received a court order to place a security hold or seal on information connected with the case. The order meant that no records or details about the case, including cause of demise, could be published until further notice. So we already know about him being arrested on Thursday in a months-long investigation that began after Celeste remains were found in the car at a Hollywood tow yard, which we already know about that. He was charged Monday with first-degree M. By the way, he was charged Monday. We are already on Wednesday, and we're about to have a preliminary hearing tomorrow. It's insane how quickly things are moving on in this particular case. Okay, including special circumstances allegations. He also faces one count of continuous SA. We already know about all this too. Okay. Celeste's family issued a statement earlier this week. We would like to thank the LAPD and the district attorney's office for their hard work. This was a statement made by Celeste Rivas and Mercedes Martinez, the girl's parents. And they continued saying, we would also like to thank the people of Lake Elsinore for all of their support. Okay. Let's see. Let me see. She was found a day after what would have been her 15th birthday. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any more details in here on things that we don't already know, right? Because they're just repeating the same stuff that we already know. Okay. I don't care where he was born. Okay. And I damn for sure don't give a damn about that album. I will say that. So right now, of course, like I said, what we heard a second ago, what we heard a little bit ago, all right, is that sharp object. And then she was dismantled. She was severed, which is absolutely insane. Okay. Shocking and insane. this piece of work. This piece of work. Okay, hold on. We're still here. Let's see here. Hold on. Just seeing if there's any more updates. Oh, WFLA. JB was on it, talking about it as well. We got to see what he has to say real quick. Yeah, let's see what my boy JB got to say about this. Hold up. Skipping ahead, let's see. He's discussing this. You know what I like? I like this kind of setup. I need something like that. I need that kind of setup. I need to learn from the samurai real quick. His setup is nice. Like this whole thing, little, warm up before the actual thing. I need something like that. Real talk. But let's get into this.
Full action in the next week. And we're going to discuss the next key hearing, which happens to be tomorrow. A hearing that David, I'm sure, is anticipating because we're going to hear some key evidence in that hearing. I'm also going to give some insight on what may be included in the evidence in this case. Really curious as to what that evidence is. But if you read the tea leaves a little bit, we're getting some idea as to where this is headed. But first, of course, as we begin here the stream, let's go over the 101 in this case. And of course, yes, we're talking about David, 21-year-old singer. And yes, it's D4vd. That's how it's stylized, right? But he's David Anthony Burke. That is his name. He is charged in the murder of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, a 14-year-old girl found dead last year. David charged just a couple days ago formally, and those charges announced, but the murder occurred allegedly in April of 2025 in Los Angeles County, California. Now, the allegations here are that it was to protect his budding musical career, that the finances, of course, were a big part of the alleged motive. And the cause of death has not yet been released. Now, the coroner's report, which we're going to discuss here in just a moment, could drop at any moment. And Josh, that's where I bring you in here, because as we are doing our thing here as far as, let's change out that banner, as we are breaking down the documents here, please keep an eye on whether or not the coroner's report comes into play, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. We're waiting with anticipation here, because this report is so much hinges on it. It feels like the arrest might have, and sort of the confidence that the prosecution has seems to hang in the balance of the evidence that one might assume this coroner's report has inside. The only people to see this coroner's report at all were a grand jury that at one point was secret, but after a secondary indictment that had to do with the family, it got leaked that this grand jury was happening. For a lot of people online, you might be sitting there going, hey, isn't this story a little bit old? And that's because a lot of conjecture around this stormed up around 7 months ago when it was leaked that the car that her body was found in was actually registered to David. But no arrest was made after that leak. The arrest happened this past week, and now things are actually moving forward with this case here.
Very, very violent with it, and with my intent to do some harm to you, that's premeditation. I can have the thought seconds or minutes beforehand to commit a violent act. That's premeditation. Lying in wait is more of an orchestrated scenario where somebody basically staged, or not staged, but the best word is put just a great deal of thought into the act of murder. I think that that's probably the best way to explain it in a way that makes sense to people. So lying in wait is unique to California. We do not have a lying in wait charge in Florida. I checked. There's no such thing as a lying in wait charge. It's more just under the definition of premeditated murder, but every state does this differently.
And one thing, actually, before we also continue here, it's my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's these three lines, these additions to the charges that make this as grand as it is, because these three carry life without parole or the possibility of the death penalty. In California, a state that is kind of, turned away from the death penalty. I don't think that they had charged somebody with the death penalty since 2014. This technically is on the table because of these 3 lines, because of the lying in the wait, because of killing a witness to a crime. And so it's also something to consider here when looking at all of these pieces that is this now David puzzle.
Mm-hmm. We have a comment. I want to get it up on screen. It comes from RK Mumbai it's on YouTube, I believe. Let's go to that comment. Again, at any point in the live stream, you can use Hey JB, Hey Josh, and we'll throw your comment up on screen. And it reads, Hey JB, Hey Josh, why would he put her body in his own Tesla? That can be tracked back to him. Makes no sense if he took so much effort to dismember her, etc. I think that's like the big obvious question. Anyone with half a brain who does something as violent as this is going to do everything that they can to conceal it and to get away with the act.
Thank you, Oya.
Look at what's happening right now with Nancy Guthrie. Obviously, something sinister happened to Nancy Guthrie.
Obviously.
And somebody went to great lengths to make sure that they would not get caught.
And that is very true. I agree with JB on that. Oya, thank you so much. Found you during Diddy trial and never left. You're doing great. Thank you so very much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the support and the super chat. It means a lot. Okay. Yes, Andrea, we just read the coroner report. We just saw it. We just looked at it. We went through all of it. So scroll back and check it out. We got the diagrams and everything. We did all that mug. Okay. So we definitely checked that out. All right. But that is for sure. When it comes to, we're not gonna stay on this too long because they didn't talk or discuss the actual autopsy reports or the information that just got revealed. But nonetheless, it is very true, okay, that there is a... Hold on. Am I muted? There is a... No, I'm not muted. Am I muted? There is a... I'm not muted, guys. You might need to just hit your refresh. Okay? Hit that refresh. I don't know why YouTube... For those of y'all who can hear this, okay, YouTube's been tripping, okay? So you might have to refresh the page. Hold on, let me just pull that up. Hold on, guys. All right. So reload the page, okay? Because it's being weird right now. I don't know why it does that from time to time. I don't know why it does it. It'll be good. We're doing Gucci, and then all of a sudden, YouTube just suddenly like mutes everything. Don't know why it does that, but yeah, it just be tripping. Okay, so again, I forgot what I was saying. I honestly forgot what I was saying. But anyway, all I'm trying to say is that yes, the report, the medical examiner came out with the information. Obviously, it is very, very, very shocking, but then not shocking at the same time. Because let's not forget the information that we've heard before. Okay. I mean, we already knew about her badly decomposed. We already knew that she was, it was a mutilation of a corpse. So we already knew that her body was in parts. Okay. Found in this trunk of his Tesla. So again, that's not that big of a surprise. No disrespect to anybody who's like still clutching their pearls about it, because it is still a shocking revelation nonetheless. But it's still, it's still the inevitable, right? So we shouldn't be that surprised, okay? We shouldn't be that surprised, but we'll see, okay? Tori, thank you so much for the love. Best channel on the internets. Aw, thank you so much. And thank you so much for being a member for the past 6 months. I appreciate it. Seriously, thank you for all you do and the variety of information you give us. That's what I'm here for, guys. That's what I'm here for. Give you guys variety, give you guys some information. And if you can't hear me, I know you're not going to be able to hear me say this, but just hit the refresh, okay? Put in the... somebody could put in the chat, refresh. If you can't hear Pascal, hit the refresh your page, okay? And it should be running just fine. Don't know why it's not, why it's acting funny recently, okay, or just this last few seconds. But nonetheless, okay, it is pretty insane what we're hearing now. Still pretty insane what we've been hearing. And hopefully we'll get some more information here very, very soon. Shocking stuff. Shocking stuff indeed. But, okay. Now that we've heard about, we've gone through the medical examiner's, stuff. We've gone through all that. We have got to get into some more of what's going on politically, what's going on overseas and everything. There was a press conference with Caroline that we need to take a look at as well. Because obviously everybody and their mama wants to know what the hell's going on. Trump is now sitting here saying that he's extending. He just did another ceasefire extension for 3 to 5 days. I don't even know what that entirely means, which is insane. Okay. We got another one. So, okay. So we got to take a look at this. This is what's going on. Caroline just came out with, let's see what kind of BS comes out of her mouth today. Skip ahead.
Hi, Caroline. Hi, guys. How are you? Caroline, could you tell us how the president is willing to extend the ceasefire in order to reach a deal? And does he believe that a deal can be struck while the U.S. blockade is still in place?
Great questions, and I will answer them. Let's level set on where we are. As you all saw yesterday, President Trump announced an extension of the ceasefire. He's maintaining and generously offering a bit of flexibility to a regime who has been completely tarnished because of Operation Epic Fury. There's obviously a lot of internal division. This is a battle between the pragmatists and the hardliners in Iran right now, and the president wants a unified response. And so as we await that response, there's a ceasefire with the military and kinetic strikes, but Operation Economic Fury continues, and the effective and successful naval blockade continues as well of ships and vessels that are moving to and from Iranian ports. We are completely strangling their economy through this blockade. They're losing $500 million a day. The Karg Island is completely full. They can't move oil in and out. They can't even pay their own people as a result of this economic leverage that President Trump has inflicted over them. So he's satisfied with that as we await their response, and we will see. The president has not set a firm deadline to receive an Iranian proposal, unlike some of the reporting I've seen today. Ultimately, the timeline will be dictated by the commander-in-chief and the president of the United States.
Clear then who was in charge in Iran and who the administration is negotiating with?
Well, we obviously know who we're negotiating with because our negotiating team has sat down with those individuals in person. But obviously, there's a lot of internal fraction and internal division, which again just proves the effectiveness of Operation Epic Fury in the first place. Their regime and many of its leaders for nearly 5 decades have been wiped off of the face of planet Earth. So again, the president's offering them a little bit of flexibility because we want to see a unified proposal to the president's very strong proposal. And he's made his red lines very clear. Again, the United States maintains control over this situation, leverage over the Iranian regime. Not only have they been significantly weakened and obliterated militarily, but they are losing economically and financially every single moment that passes with this blockade. So the president is going to continue to lead the free world, to run the United States of America as we await the Iranian response. John.
Thanks a lot, Caroline. 2 questions. What's the ultimate goal of this blockade? Is it indefinite? And is the ceasefire that's in place right now also indefinite?
Look, again, I'm not going to set a timetable for the president. He has not done that, and I won't. I know there's been some anonymous sourced reporting that there was maybe a 3 to 5 day deadline. That is not true. The president has not set a deadline himself. Ultimately,
what? So the 3 to 5 day, extension, ceasefire extension is not true. Fox News said that, by the way. Fox News is the one who just said that. Yeah, I think we're all confused, y'all. At this point, I think we're all freaking confused.
he will dictate the timetable. And again, he is satisfied with the naval blockade, and he understands that Iran is in a very weak position, and the cards are in President Trump's hands right now.
On the issue of Virginia redistricting, because he weighed in this afternoon raising concerns about proposed. Why didn't he campaign more actively against this referendum? Why not spend time on Truth Social encouraging people vote no before the vote, then raise concerns after?
That's a question that's political by nature. As you know, I'm not part of the president's political team anymore. I do sit here at the White House as a government employee. Look, the president has a lot on his plate, a lot on his schedule. He did host a telephone call prior to the election the night before, but he's made his position on the result of this election clear to all of you today. Mary Bruce.
The president is not setting a deadline with this ceasefire right now, but this war has already gone on longer than he said it would initially. How long should Americans be prepared for this war to go on?
Look, I think President Trump ultimately will dictate the timeline, and he will do so when he feels is in the best interest of the United States and the American people.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you very much. So
Man, oh
the
man.
same day, the president said that he doesn't want to extend the ceasefire and the bombs would start falling after the end of the ceasefire. And unilaterally, he declared that the ceasefire would be extended indefinitely. Iranian state media are openly mocking the President of the United States and saying we didn't even request the extension of the ceasefire. What's the response from the President of the United States?
The response is you guys all see a lot of different messaging coming out of Iran, a lot of different rhetoric and language from them. I would caution you to take anything that they say at face value. What we've seen is that what they say publicly is much different than what they concede to the United States and our negotiating team privately. I've said that repeatedly to all of you in the news media, and you should take our word for it.
I have another topic. There's been some reporting about a possible bailout for Spirit Airlines. Can you update us on those talks, and why does the administration think it's a good investment to buy into a bankrupt airline?
Well, I understand the airline is bankrupt because the previous administration blocked the merger, which was probably not a wise move. Obviously, this is something the Commerce Department and the President are tracking. I don't have any updates or announcements, but the aviation industry is very important to this President and this White House. Millions of Americans depend on it. We want to see the best possible outcome, but I don't have any announcements today.
Thank you so much, Caroline. So, how long is the President willing to wait for the Iranians to come to the table, and does he trust the Iranians to come to the table?
Again, I've now been asked this question a few different times, a few different ways. I'm not going to set a deadline. Libby, go ahead.
A lot of the negotiations, or it seems public statements that we've seen from the president come on Truth Social and the Iranians on X, a lot of back and forth there. Did the president's Truth Social posts throughout the day ahead of these negotiations have a negative impact on the negotiations?
I think look at where we are right now.
Good question.
The president chose to extend the ceasefire together. The United States and President Trump have been very clear in our demands and our red lines and what we need to see in the best interest of the American people and our country. The short answer to your question is no.
Skipping weird.
Does the White House have an understanding at this point of who inside of Iran will have the final sign-off on it?
The White House and our intelligence community certainly has a good understanding. You want to see a unified to the previous different messaging on social media from many people with that public nonsense is not what we hear from them privately. But again, what the president is awaiting. Again, I'll leave our intelligence community and the president to decide that. Nick, go ahead.
Does the White House have a response to the DOJ's indictment of the SPLC, as well as the allegations that donated funds were used to actually fund the very dangerous racist groups that it denounced?
Yeah, I saw the indictment yesterday. I saw the acting attorney general and FBI director do a press conference on it. It was quite shocking to learn of the egregious violations of the law the Southern Poverty Law Center was committing. And I think that's a story in this country because they've obviously been duping their supporters and the American taxpayers for far too long. It's a criminal organization, clearly, and that's not our DOJ saying that or Todd Blanche saying that. That's a grand jury indictment saying that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so now they're saying that Trump did not extend the the time that that's not true. But there's other people. I don't even know anymore, guys. I don't even know anymore. It's, like I said, it's like we're on, we're off, we're on again, we're off again, we're on again, we're off again. They have to make a decision on what the F is going on here. That's what's really, really frustrating about this whole thing. Okay? We're hearing one thing, and then we're hearing something completely different. Too many opposing stories. But something else that's also interesting going on. I want to share this with y'all. Let's take a look at this.
Let's get right to this breaking news. Iranian media confirms its Revolutionary Guard attacked 3 ships in the Strait of Hormuz just hours after President Donald Trump indefinitely extended the ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran. Meanwhile, some other big news. The world watches how Iran responds to dissent. President Trump just posted to Truth Social moments ago saying that Iran, at his request, will not execute 8 women protesters who were scheduled to be killed tonight. Quote, 4 will be released immediately. 4 will be sentenced to 1 month in prison. Close quote. Live to see.
Yeah. So apparently there were a lot. 8 women that were about to get murked tonight. And it's not happening anymore. And now Trump is saying that it's because of him, coming in, swooping in and stopping Iran, the Iranian regime from actually taking the life of these 8 women that were protesting against the regime. And they are known, Iran is known for going out here and just straight murking everybody. Okay. Just a few weeks ago, they took the life of an Olympic wrestler, I think. Okay. So it has been pretty insane, to say the least. Okay. Let's see this. Oh yeah. Thank you so much. Mind you, she was on Fox yesterday saying something else. Yeah, she was. When you talk about Caroline, we're so used to hearing, that's the thing. We hear one thing, and then we hear something completely different. That's the problem with this administration. They can't make a decision if they're going to ish or get off the doggone pot. That's the problem. You see what I'm saying? So some needs to be figured out, because this is getting really dumb. It's getting really crazy. And now we're getting to the point where we can't even keep up with what's going on. You see what I'm saying? We can't even keep up. And maybe that's what they want. Maybe they want us to be completely discombobulated so that when they do something, we don't know how we feel about it. You know what I'm saying? Because the confusion is just going crazy. I don't know.
CBS News contributor and Iranian journalist Masih Alinejad. Masih, you've got to have a heart that's singing with joy to know that 4 women are released right now. You've also got to have concern for the 4 who are still in the hands of the Iranian National Guard.
I am emotional. I am very emotional. Look, for me, it's not about politics. It is about people that I have heard their voices. I have seen their faces. I have known them for years and years, going to the streets simply protesting and demanding freedom. And being executed, being hanged, being killed for demanding freedom in 21st century, this is not acceptable. And that actually shows you pressure works. I have to say that my sources, my team has been working really hard. They confirmed at least Bita Hemmati and her husband. Let me just tell you their story, because it's not just name and numbers. A couple full of life. They are in love. Both of them, they went to the street. These are the people that actually, the woman was in Trump's list. So they were sentenced to death. Now, the Iranian regime backed down. I read the news on Iranian website. I couldn't believe them. Now, President Trump said that actually this is something the Iranian regime showed it when Navid Afghari was on the death row because of pressure, international pressure. The Islamic Republic publicly announced that they stopped the execution, but months later they executed Navid Afghari, the Iranian well-known athlete, wrestler. So I'm here to say that President Trump, do not trust the Islamic Republic. We need to watch them closely and make sure that the rest 4 women were on the death row. So far now, because President Trump only mentioned about 1, I want to tell you that Vorishe is on the death row again. I am worried about her life as well. There are 4 other women. And I want to tell you about one person, Shervin, only 17-year-old. Shervin was forced to come on TV to do a false confession. And the interrogator on TV told him, Shervin, you are a muharib. He was too young. He didn't understand what muharib means. In my country, when you are a muharib, it means that you waged a war against God and you have to be killed. And immediately the interrogator told Shervin, it means one sentence, death, execution. Shervin started to beg him, telling him that, please don't kill me. Don't kill me. I'm a child. Forgive me. So there are hundreds on the death row. And it should not be only on President Trump to talk about it. Because this is not about politics, left, liberal, Democrat, Republican. This is about 17-year-old. This is about another woman that I want to say, Ghazal Ghalandari, only 16-year-old. And she was forced to do a false confession as well. Her crime is just protesting. Another woman called, which I want to name them, Nilufar Isfahani, 18 years old. She was arrested with her mother. So for me and millions of Iranians, it is very important to see that the Iranian regime understand the language of pressure, but we need to see more pressure to release all innocent political prisoners.
Well, you know, we talk about the Strait of Hormuz. We show troops amassing in the region, and oftentimes what we miss are the human stories behind the headlines.
Exactly.
Masi, thank you so much for bringing some of those touchstones, our hopes for anybody who is being held unjustly, those 4 women who have not been released yet. We hope to talk to you again very soon on CBS News.
Yeah, please.
I mean, you know, obviously, like I said, it's interesting because, don't get me wrong, the Iranian people deserve to have the liberation, deserve to be free as much as anybody else. Okay, we have certain liberties and certain freedoms here in this country, and I feel like everybody should have those things as well. But like I said, this is not the forefront of the Trump administration's focus. Because if it was, this would be a completely different war. At least in my personal opinion. Again, I can, I could be wrong, okay? But at the same time, the way I see it, one minute he says it's all about regime change, then it's about something completely different. We see it, what we're seeing in real time is not them being, the administration being about trying to help the Iranian people, except for like right now. We're seeing at least four getting released. 4 are not going to lose their life. They're going to be put in prison, but they're not getting executed anymore, which obviously is a step in the right direction. But again, we're not hearing anything about those kinds of things that we should be talking about and we should be covering because this was supposed to be about the liberation of the Iranian people. But like I said, we lost the plot many weeks ago. It's since the beginning. And that's the big issue, and that's the big problem that I'm seeing, at least me personally, with this whole thing. We hear one thing and then we hear something completely different. And right now it's like, oh, okay, that's pretty much, in the direction of what we were all about in the beginning, which was liberating the Iranians, liberating the people of Iran, and dismantling and destroying their regime. Where's that? Where's that? Still waiting to see that happen, guys. So where's that? 1 second. 1 second, guys. Where the heck did it go? Okay. So I'm glad I have this. Okay. So there's something else that's going on. Okay. that is very strange. And of course, I got to pull this thing up. Hold on. Now, I don't know if you guys know about this situation or this story about this U.S. nuclear safety chief that was basically put on leave because of a video that just came out. This is absolutely crazy. Okay, so a U.S. nuclear safety chief is put on leave after undercover video. So Andrew Hugg, identified as the U.S. Army's chief of chemical nuclear surety, has been placed on administrative leave after undercover footage allegedly showed him revealing sensitive national security details to a stranger in a public setting. Hold up, wait a minute. So you got a dude out here just having, they had a Sizzlers, and he's just talking about all this very, very high, highly sensitive information, highly classified information, just talking willy-nilly at a bar. Just chilling, just talking about it. The video released by James O'Keefe's media group includes claims about U.S. nerve agents, civilian casualties in Iran, and potential targeting of Iran's leadership. The Army confirmed an investigation is underway after the footage was made public. Now, this is absolutely insane that you got a guy who has highly classified information just talking freely and willy-nilly to just any old person in public. We got the footage. Let's take a look at this, shall we?
The sun. If he does the same ways that everything films, we're gonna shoot missiles and destroy some stuff.
Yeah.
But if you want to win, if you want to make the country do what you want, you have to put people there.
Hold on. Let me just point this out really quick. Okay. You want a dude to start talking? You want a high profile individual to give out high security information, highly sensitive information to just anybody? Put a good looking woman across the table from him and give him a little bit of booze. I'm just being real. We're not even 15 seconds in this mug, and you hear her. You hear her talking. I'm sorry, but it seems insane. And I don't know what she looks like. She could be, she could have looked like she had a fight with a bear and won. I don't know. Okay, but what I will say, all right, is that it's a female. So he getting honeypotted. That's what it sounds like to me. He's like, I got all this information because he's trying to get dash juicy. You see what I'm saying? He trying to get that booty. You know what I'm saying? Let me impress you by all these things that I know. Yes. And she's recording all this stuff from her freaking purse. You can't even make this up. But like I said, yeah. More powerful than money. More powerful than nukes. The female vagina. I'm telling you. It makes every straight man weak. Sorry. Not sorry. Let us continue. Have mercy. He got honeypotted. He's willing to give it all. He's willing to risk it all. Okay? Just to see beyond the décolletage, if you get what I'm saying. Let's continue.
I was hearing something that we killed kids in the car. Did we actually?
I think there's been some collateral damage, yeah, for sure. They always die in war, too. So their vision is a chemical weapon. It's like Pandora's box.
A nuclear and chemical safety branch chief in the United States Department of the Army spills detailed information about their possession of nerve agents.
And lungs won't work, your heart won't work, nothing will work.
Revealing that a U.S. Army chemist was exposed to the nerve agent due to careless handling.
She's supposed to wear all this gear, and she's like, I don't like it. She just wore like Crocs and her own clothes.
Yeah.
And so it's soaked in her clothes. And just soaked very well on her skin. So she could literally start touching stuff. Other people would touch like a door, and then people would die.
Then goes on to reveal intimate details about the U.S. nuclear arsenal.
So you said there's missiles underground.
Wait, is this like a second date? Did they go on a second date? Is this another one? Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Is this another date? Oh, damn.
Also discloses that the United States military has no official plans to nuke Iran.
We're not thinking about nuking anybody. We're not moving nukes. We're not going to nuke it.
And the exact methods that the U.S. uses to defend against nuclear attacks.
We have all these sensors in space. We have radars, all these sensors to detect a launch. Space satellites with radars, you'll see it. On the radar, you actually see the thing flying.
And confirms what many have suspected, that Ukrainian officials were using the money sent from the United States to buy themselves mansions and luxury sports cars.
I worked on Obama's tax money that he said. They just stole it and they bought houses, cars, like $100,000 cars. If they can get themselves rich and leave and go live in Dubai, that's better than, they don't care about the people. That government is so corrupt. You're not a spy, right? No. Your eyes have mesmerized me so much that
What he just, oh, dear Lord. Like I said, that booty is something else for men. They're willing to give it all up. I don't know why. I don't know what's up with men. I don't know what's up with them. I don't know why are we built this way? Why are we built this way? He literally just said, you're not a spy, right? Those eyes are mesmerizing, though. Those eyes are just so mesmerizing. They can't be, those eyes can't be spy eyes. They just can't be spy eyes or nothing. Okay, they just so mesmerizing that you can't be a spy because those eyes are just so mesmerizing. Dear Lord, he has a job? He has this kind of job? Oh my dear God. Like I said, anything for that Stussy. The dudes, what's up with this, guys? We that desperate to bust? We really that desperate to be busting like that? Word? Word? We really that desperate to be busting that we willing to give out that kind of sensitive information like this to the likes of just any old person? Just because she like plays with her hair and giggles at one of your stupid dad jokes, suddenly you're like, oh, I'm about to get in there like, dear Lord, my God, your eyes are mesmerizing. That's why you can't be a spy because those eyes are mesmerizing.
almost going to tell you. That's why that's the easiest way to get intelligence. Like just send a pretty girl, talk to the guy.
Oh my God. Come on, guys. Come on. I'm not writing this. I repeat, I did not write this. He just said, just bring a pretty girl and no. Dumb. See, this is you know what? You know what they need to do? You know what they need to mother loving do? You know what they need to do? They need to do a flavor camp. Hold up. Before y'all go like, what? Hold on. They need to do a flavor camp for all of these government officials, okay? All these spies and stuff like that. Real talk, they need to do some sort of flavor camp for these dudes. All of them. So that if the finest female in the history of ever walks into their into their visage. They're not willing to give all their codes away and all this information and all this insider crap away. That they're like, it's nothing to me. I've had plenty of beautiful women like you. This is nothing to me. I am the sex, like I'm a bad mother lover. Just because you're looking at me and just like, you know what I mean? If you're busy, like seriously, not like, you know, but they not like the Diddy stuff, okay? Not the baby oil and Astroglide, but they need to like start training these dudes on how to figure out if they're getting honeypotted or not. Belle Biv DeVoe said it best. Don't trust a big butt and a smile. Because that girl is poison. There you go. These dudes need flavor camp. Period. Okay? They need to act like they know they the bomb. Like any girl, every girl wants me kind of thing. You see what I'm saying? That's it. Because as soon as she starts asking these kinds of questions, it's kind of like, can't answer that. Sorry. Can't answer it. And she'll try to work you. She'll probably try to show you all of her best assets. You know what I'm saying? But it's nothing to you. They need to be James Bond up in this biznai. You feel me? That's exactly what I'm talking about. Okay? They got to have that swagger. They got to have that confidence. And they got to not suddenly melt anytime a woman who has all of her teeth in her head smiles in your general direction. All right, I'm done. I'm just saying they need to do something. They need to train these mother lovers because this is sad.
I'm independent journalist Brianna Morello here filling in for James O'Keefe for the latest exclusive report inside the U.S. Department of the Army.
I do work with like chemical weapons, nuclear weapons, but I do the safety, security stuff. This chief of chemical nuclear surety, which that's like not many people like outside, but in this world, surety means safety, reliability, security. It's like all the surety just means like all the things to keep it safe. I make sure the people are reliable. There's no psycho people working on the weapons. You don't want a psycho person with access to that stuff.
Andrew Hogg is a nuclear and chemical surety branch chief with the U.S. Department of the Army. He reveals a surprising amount of detailed information to our undercover journalists about the locations of the U.S. nuclear arsenal and the methods that are being used by the United States to defend against foreign nuclear attacks.
Yikes,
to protect U.S. national security interests, we have omitted certain pieces of information from this report.
So you said there's missiles underground.
Yeah. In the Cold War days, we had them like all over the place. But now we've kind of shrunk them down with Russia working with treaties. But then now you got China that's like, well, I don't have a treaty. So China's building more. They're planning to build more than we got.
Okay,
so
really?
That's the problem. Is like we have all these sensors in space. We have radars, all these sensors to detect a launch.
Can you detect the launch coming from someone else?
Yeah, with space satellites, with radars, you'll see it. On the radar, you'll actually see the thing flying. You'll know how big it is, the speed. You'll know that's a missile. I mean, you can tell all this stuff.
According to Andrew Hogg, nuclear officials that oversee the missile launch procedures are trained to initiate a launch even if it is a Girl Scout that presents the launch order with the correct codes. Fire.
We're literally trained that, if a Girl Scout, this is serious.
Hold on. Word. Hold on. We need to repeat that one more time. Holy crap.
Nuclear officials that oversee the missile launch procedures are trained to initiate a launch even if it is a Girl Scout that presents the launch order with the correct codes. Fire.
We're literally trained that.
That is insane. She fooled me, Sergeant. No kidding. Wow, that's insane. If they got the right code and they call in, they're like 1375 9 17. Dog had a bad day. Invention up Oreo cookies and Chips Ahoy ice cream. And they're like, yeah, 6932. Then they're like, yep, boop, and that's it. They says, yeah, I don't understand why they didn't say Boy Scouts. You know, they say Girl Scouts. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh God. Wow. Anything for that boo-hoo-tee.
You know, if a Girl Scout, this is serious, we were always trained, if a Girl Scout gives you a message, a launch message, she knocks on your door, goes, here you go, she gives you a launch message on a box of cookies, she wrote it down. If it passes all the checks, go. If she just passes it on to you, that's what we're trying to say, no matter how you get it, take action.
I mean, he must have been hungry, or he must have just bought some Samoas or some Thin Mints or something like that, but he said a box of cookies. Hi, Susan. Hi. Hi, Mr. Smith. Here's your cookies. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Cross-reference. Okay, we're nuking this country today. It's on the box of Samoas. It's on the box of Samoas. I cross-referenced it. Drop the nuke. Like, that's insane. That's insane.
Because that's how you have to do it in a war, because you don't know. They can take down most of the communication. Right. So it's an extreme example, but we actually would train that. Like, no matter what, you go.
While the example may sound humorous, imagine if this branch chief was actually talking to a Chinese spy. He has now just revealed where our nukes are stored and the exact method we would use to defend ourselves against Chinese nukes. And even revealed that if China wanted to trigger a false launch from the U.S., all they need is the launch code and a Girl Scout. On a second interaction, Andrew Hug went into details about the war with Iran, confirming that there are no plans to nuke Iran. But in the wake of the February assassination of the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Hug tells our journalist that President Trump is going to kill his son, Mojtaba Khamenei, if he, quote, doesn't change his ways.
Do you think we're actually going to...
We're not leaving the extreme. We're not going to leave it. We're not doing that now.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're not thinking about nuking anybody.
Do you think we're going to kill one of them here this year?
It's all good. Yeah, I don't know who, but he might kill the next guy, the son.
His son?
Wow. The son took over. He won't be any different.
Oh, you think they would kill his son?
If he does the same ways, then they can kill him.
Yikes.
The journalist goes on.
That's crazy, because I said Diddy, and then Cassie's playing in the background. I'm sorry, but dear Lord, Cassie's playing in the background. I'm like, we need Flavor Camp, but not like Diddy. And then you got that song playing, Cassie's song, playing in the background. Crazy.
To ask Andrew Hug about the March 2026 strike in Minab, Iran, which killed over 150 school children. It has been deemed a violation of international humanitarian law.
This is the moment a missile slammed into an Iranian base in Minab. Weapons experts tell CNN the wings and tail are consistent with a Tomahawk missile. This new video is the clearest evidence yet that suggests it was the United States that struck an elementary school next to that Revolutionary Guards base, killing scores of students.
To which Andrew coldly replies, quote, "There's been collateral damage. They, meaning kids, always die in war."
I was hearing something that we killed kids in a war in the car. Did we actually?
I'm sure there's been some collateral damage. Yeah, for sure. Well, eventually, yeah. I'm sure we've killed civilians in Iran. Around that three. Look at every single possibility. What size weapons? I'll try and do it here. So.
But perhaps the most.
Oh my God. Yeah. No. The song before was Cassie. And then now it's Rihanna's song, The Only Girl in the World, okay? Want you to make me feel. But here's what's crazy is that you got that going on as he's talking. This is wild, because you got that going on as he's talking about what happens in war when she's discussing an elementary school full of girls losing their lives. That's crazy. And he's like, oh, this is all normal. This is normal. It happens all the time. Children lose their lives in war. It's totally common. It's not, shouldn't be, but this is insane. And he's just talking casually. Well, you got Rihanna in the background. Like I'm the only girl in the world. Like that. Just playing in the background, just chilling as they're eating and drinking out of stemware. Wow.
Disturbing of all, Andrew Hugg details how the U.S. is researching and developing nerve agents or chemical weapons in a laboratory in Aberdeen, Maryland.
So, nerve agent is a chemical weapon that, if you spray it on people, it will make a certain enzyme, which is called cholinesterase. It regulates your neural transmissions, okay? So with this chemical, with nerve agent, it kills that enzyme, and lungs won't work, your heart won't work, nothing will work. We have this here in the state of
Jesus.
The nerve agent that Andrew is describing here is sarin. It's a highly toxic human-made organophosphorus. Sarin acts as a potent inhibitor of enzymes, and over time, the binding becomes irreversible. In 1987, the U.S. joined the Chemical Weapons Convention, which bans the development, stockpiling, and use of chemical weapons. The U.S. had about 30,000 tons of chemical weapons, including nerve agents. In July 2023, the U.S. completed destruction of the last declared chemical weapons at the Bluegrass Army Depot in Kentucky. As long as the nerve agents are not weaponized, the U.S. is allowed to conduct research and development for scientific purposes such as preventative treatment. However, this becomes more concerning when Andrew Hugg reveals that one of the chemists in that lab was so careless, refusing to wear appropriate safety gear, that she accidentally exposed herself to the nerve agent.
If she was just being lazy and she wore Crocs and she, got lazy.
Who's she or what?
She's a lab cuss. She's a lab tech. She's supposed to wear all this gear, and she's like, I don't like it. She just wore like Crocs and her own clothes.
Yeah.
Who does
and so
that?
it's soaked in her clothes. And just soaked very well on her skin. So she could literally start touching stuff. Other people would touch like a door.
God.
And then people would die.
The journalists also questioned Andrew Hugg on Ukraine and whether the diplomats were really using U.S. aid to...
You know what? I just don't think he wanted the job anymore. That's what it is. He just wanted to get fired. He was just trying to find a way out. That's the only excuse I have for him now. It's not even about getting in her pants anymore. Now I'm just like, you know what? You can't be that telling. You can't be that revealing and that open. You know what I'm saying? I know what I'm saying is not true at all. He just wanted that. He just wanted that booty. But still, it's just insane how much he's just giving out all this information, and it's all scary information to be completely real. Yes, men do talk to impress. He's definitely talking to impress. Yeah, but it's coming out of his mouth. Highly classified information coming out of his mouth. Yeah, this is some serious whistleblowing without even him knowing that he's whistleblowing, because he's hoping that she would blow his whistle. You see what I'm saying? Bars. Ain't that crazy? He's, unbeknownst to him, he is whistleblowing without actually knowing that he's whistleblowing, because he's hoping that homegirl would blow his mother-loving whistle. Have mercy.
Buy themselves mansions and sports cars, and the nuclear branch chief confirms, quote, they stole our money, they bought houses, $100,000 cars. They can get themselves rich and go live in Dubai.
Like I said, I lived in Ukraine and worked there with the government.
Really?
That government is so corrupt. Like, they stole our money.
Wait, hey, hold on. I'm sorry. I got to roll that back because I don't want to interrupt that. But I'm also realizing that they've had 2 dates. So did they crack? Did they bang? I'm just curious. Did they bang? It's the second date. Some girls don't. Some girls don't even wait for the first date to be over. They're on the second date. Did they get betwixt the sheets? I'm just saying. Did this work out in his favor? Or did she say, I'm not interested, we're just friends? You know what I'm saying? I look at you as a friend. Andy, you're silly. You know? Fellas, you've all heard that at one time of your life. We've all been friended at one point, you know? Hey, so you want to, come over and grab a drink? Oh, Andy. Oh, yeah, I'd love to, but not this time. That's sweet, though. That's sweet. You're funny. You're funny. You're funny, Andy. No, I just see you as a friend. Thank you so much for dinner, though. It was very sweet. It was a lovely dinner. You know? We've all been friend zoned at one point of our lives, okay?
$100,000 cars. They can get themselves rich and go live in Dubai.
Like I said, I lived in Ukraine and worked there with the government.
Stop. LOS, she hits you on the shoulder. You're like, not the hit on the shoulder, man. You've been friended. You know what I mean? Damn. Friended. Silly. Oh, I hate that. But we all been there at one point, okay?
Really? That government is so corrupt. Like, they stole our money. Like, I worked on Obama's tax money that he sent. They just stole it, and they bought houses, cars, like $100,000 cars. They're officials in the government. Yeah. So they get their hands on the tax money from you and me. Oh, my gosh. And they're like, oh, yeah. And then now that it's like $100 billion, $200 billion, they're like stealing it all. So.
Dang. Okay, so
yeah,
why would they use that money for that? Wouldn't they need it for, like, nuclear weapons?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. But but if they can get themselves rich and leave and go live in Dubai, that's better than they don't care about the people. No, they couldn't care less about the people.
Andrew Hug even details that he personally witnessed 10 Ukrainian officials steal $1 million each and immediately spend it on luxury cars.
Like, you can tell about Ukraine and how corrupt. And like, when I was there, they stole $1 million one day. That was the first thing I saw stolen was $1 million, and they bought these guys that make $350 a month in their political job. Each guy, 10 guys stole $1 million. They each bought a $100,000 car, like BMW 7, Range Rover, all $100,000 cars from the money Obama gave. Yeah.
The branch chief claims he reported it to the Obama White House, to which they replied, quote, "We don't care."
Did anything ever happen with that?
I reported it, and guess what the White House said? We don't care. Don't talk about it. We don't want that in the paper because it makes Obama look bad. It looks like he's not in control.
Really?
Yeah, they don't care. It's like, it's $1 million. We don't care.
Toward the end of the interaction, Andrew Hug waited for the journalist outside of the bathroom and confronted her, asking whether she is a spy, indicating that Andrew is well aware that the information he was spilling could be severely incriminating if she, in fact, were a spy.
Hey! You love me. That's so sweet.
You're not spying. You're not spying, though, right?
You're just powerful.
But you're not spying, right?
You're just powerful. And I like that. Let's go back to the table. Okay.
Honey potted it. Listen to that exchange. Listen to that exchange. You're so powerful. Listen to that exchange. You're just powerful. Listen to that. She's not even answering the question because she doesn't want to. She's not trying to lie, right? But she's like, you're so powerful. You're just powerful. Clearly trying to honeypot this dude. Wow.
You're not spying. You're not spying, though, right?
You're just powerful.
But you're not spying, right?
You're just powerful. And I like that. Let's go back to the table. Okay, so.
As political tensions appear to be reaching a boiling point all over the world, and the U.S. officially entered a state of open warfare with Iran, national security and discretion is more important than ever. Andrew Hug is lucky that he was talking to an OMG undercover journalist and not an Iranian spy, as he casually discussed Trump's strategy and intentions. When a top nuclear official is this loose-lipped about our defensive measures, Iranian war plans, locations of nukes, while our country is actively at war, it puts every single one of us in mortal danger.
We need to have better people in these kinds of positions than what we have right now. I mean, I know this is just one guy, okay? I know this is just one guy, but how many other guys are that vulnerable? How many other guys are that easily to be honeypotted? Let's be real. Like, this guy got honeypotted bad. And he went on a second date with this girl. Clearly, he was hoping to get in the sheets with her. Clearly, he was hoping for something. Hopefully, he's single and he doesn't have a wife at home. Let me just also say that too. I don't know that part. But what I do know is the fact that he was willing to give out and shell out those kinds of secrets to just any girl, just because she's maybe wearing a low plunging shirt and a tight skirt or something like that. This is really bad. But like I said, they need to come up with some sort of thing, like a government version of a flavor camp. You know, they need to turn these guys into smooth operators. Okay? Not impressed by the honeypots that keep showing up randomly. Again, this is not a Ukrainian spy. This is not an Iranian spy or anything of that sort. This was an undercover reporter. But imagine if they were able to have just straight up, I don't know, other girls from other countries that are just, I don't know, absolutely jaw-droppingly gorgeous, be trained to be able to get highly sensitive information that could be extremely detrimental for our country, for the safety of our country. That guy has information that he was just giving out to just anybody, to any old girl that happened to bat her eyes and smile at him. Now he's been put on leave. There's obviously a full-on investigation going on, but that was very damning information. And he can't live that down. It's a wrap. It's a wrap for him. His career is over. They're never going to trust him again. But they need to use this as an example for other people in all areas of the government. They can't just be giving out this kind of information like that. And he was an easy egg to crack, by the way. Very easy egg to crack. She just had to swipe right on Tinder or something like that, or randomly slide in his DMs or send an email to him. And he's like, holy crap, oh my gosh, holy crap, she's gorgeous. What time do you want to meet up? Dinner time, anytime. And then, of course, he starts talking. And all she's doing is just asking very nonchalant questions, acting like she's an innocent individual. All the while, she's recording everything. You're so powerful. Stop. But she got him. She most definitely did. Listen, guys, that's the show, guys. I got to wrap up, okay? I got to wrap up today, but I appreciate all y'all for being here. Thank you so much for spending your time with me and everything. It's always a blessing having you guys tune in and watch the show. You can watch the show, any other show, and you decide to watch this show. I really appreciate it, okay? Jessica, are we cooked? Are we cooked? We're cooked in certain ways. You know, are we really cooked? I don't know. Like really, really cooked? I don't know. But right now, we're hearing 15 different things. We have a ceasefire that may be over in 3 to 5 days, maybe not. They're saying that's not true. I mean, it's a very frustrating time. And there are other people, other men and women out there that have a lot of very highly sensitive information that could easily get leaked out, because they just want to feel love. I know. It's crazy. Like I said, it's more powerful than any drug in this world, more lethal than any of the strongest nuke on this planet. It's that booty, y'all. Is that the JJ? Never trust a big butt and a smile. I'm just saying, have mercy. It has even caused wars. You're right. You're right, Classic. The face that launched 1,000 ships, right? We've heard all kinds of stories. I'm telling you right now, you gotta be careful, y'all. You gotta be careful. All right? But guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It means a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Please do me a favor before you head out. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all of them, so make sure you hit that follow button. Subscribe here on my main channel right here on YouTube. Subscribe here. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there as well. That'd be greatly appreciated. A lot of the topics that we covered over here are going to be cut up in pieces, cut up in clips over there as well. So please go over there, subscribe to that second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Just in case if you missed anything from this show, you can watch it over there in a shorter format, okay? Hit that like button down below, or also hit that notification bell on both platforms. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload. Hit that like button down below. Of course, hit that join button down below as well. Become a member. Support the channel if you can. That'd be greatly appreciated. And of course, if you want to support even further, check out PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there, so go check it out. PascalMerch.com. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Much love to all of y'all. Yes, you too, Natural Mystic. Stay frosty, my friend. Stay frosty. We'll be talking here soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.